Welcome to the Old World Fanatics, your Warhammer Fantasy podcast, or I should say your Old World podcast, to quench your hobby thirst for all things the Old World. And I'm one of your hosts, Gomo. I'm back from Canberra, as well as Andrew and Josh. How is everyone going?
Oh, we're all back. Yeah.
Still pretty tired, but
baby.
slowly recovering.
Yeah.
Even a day. We went, are we going to record on Monday?
No.
Yeah, no.
I think we made the decision on Saturday night or Friday night, midway through
It's not happening.
tournament.
Yeah.
We were actually planning to do an episode during the weekend as well, weren't we? But again, we're like...
Yeah, we were. I took all the stuff just in case.
Yeah, somebody just wimped out.
That's cool because
that
then me
was.
and Josh went out for dinner. It was good.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I was
it
there
ended
for
up being
dinner.
fine.
Oh, do you have a second dinner?
Oh, now I can't remember.
which night was
Yeah,
that?
the
Hang on.
double
Oh, that was the
chicken schnitzel.
Friday. We went out on Saturday. Oh, it was the Saturday dinner I'm thinking of. You weren't there. That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was playing Old World. Yes, we went out on that and we went out for dinner instead.
Oh,
Yeah.
On
The Saturday, yeah.
Saturday,
you were
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, I'll go on.
Yeah. So we all went to Cancon. We caught up in person, first time since starting the podcast, even though we have seen each other
Every
before.
week.
But yeah, it was cool. Didn't you say something like that, Josh, to Andrew?
It
That
was weird.
He feels like you've seen
I've
him.
seen you. Yeah,
heaps more
it's
or
like
something.
In the flesh.
it's been 6 months. Since Castle Assault, pretty much, and then. But it's just bizarre how, because we talk every week, and I'm sort of semi face to face, that seeing you guys in the flesh did feel weirdly familiar. Like it wasn't like, hey guys, how you going? It's like just continue to have a
Yeah, like
weekly
when we all
conversation.
met at Castle Assault, it was a bit like that. I was like, oh, hey, Josh, hadn't seen you in like, I don't know, what was it?
Yeah.
7 years or something.
That's right. We all completely lost touch for years and years. And then so like it all flipped on its head after Castle Assault. Now it's,
that's right. That's what hobby does.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I always feel like I'll never be lonely if Warhammer's still around because there's always people to play with. Like you can't be that lonely hermit that doesn't have any friends because you just
it's
go play
amazing, isn't it?
Warhammer.
And like
So,
even just wandering around Cancun, like just during the tournament, like you'd always have something to talk about with people. Like you didn't even know them. You just wander over and make a remark about their miniature or their army or what's happening in the game. And like it'd just be immediate conversation. I think you're totally right.
I noticed a few people who I don't know what they were playing, but they were coming into that area and then mentioning Old World and square bases and stuff. And like, it was pretty cool to actually see people who, I don't even know who they are. I don't know what did they play, Warhammer before, fantasy? No idea. But they were like, they knew it and they were sort of excited about it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd think it'd be pretty well embedded within people's wargaming history.
Were they people
vast majority
like interested because they're thinking about going to play the Old World, or
I think
they
just think it looks cool.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, so missed this, or like they made some, they might be in a group of 2 or 3 people and someone had mentioned something about the Old World, and I mean, I didn't talk to them. I just heard
right.
I heard so.
It's funny. We'll probably get to some of that random chat around stuff like that. But yeah, we're going to cover, actually, before we get on, let's do a shout out because we missed it last week.
So
and we're very naughty. We were tired and stuff. Our Patreons deserve a proper shout out. So before we kick off, I think we have 10 now, is it? Is it 10?
Yes, 10.
10. And we actually played and met a few of them there. I mean, we'd met some of them before, but not all of them. So a big shout out to Richard, William, Rob, Amanda, Andrew, Bobby Gherkin / Kieran, Gumwich, Sean and Todd, good old Todd Lloyd, and our OG Jared.
Thank you.
Good shout out. Thanks, guys. It is going a little way to, just keep us going, keep us turning back up on a Monday or a Tuesday or whenever we decide to record.
Yep.
So thanks for that. And if you aren't a Patreon, I mean, I'm pretty sure the other 10 will be quite happy for other people to join, don't you reckon? I think they discussed that down there. Yeah, cool. So it's only $2 a month, but it obviously adds up. Helps us pay for some things. So awesome. Anyway, what are we chatting about today? Obviously Cancon, but now we really want to move into the Old World. So we thought we'd wrap Cancon up. We've got a TO's perspective in Josh's. He can give us a bit more overview of the whole thing. Josh, Andrew and I, will run through our games, not in, the highlights. We won't spend too long because I think most people want to hear Old World stuff, and this is 6th ed, but different topic I'm thinking down the track, how how does six head translate into old world? Because it's pretty bloody close.
It is. It's very relevant.
Yeah.
A lot of the game reports you have, it's a little about your movement and the random stuff that happened in the game. So I feel like people would enjoy listening to that kind of thing anyway, even if they want to hear mainly about the old world.
Yeah, no, I thought of that when I was like going through some stuff. I'm like, anyway, that's a different topic. But then I thought, what are we going to do now? What are we doing now? I know you're, Josh, are still, you have some sixth stuff to do. Like you're going to a tournament in March. You got your slow grow. Andrew and I don't, but I'm assuming, Josh, you're going to jump into Old World ASAP as well. And it's like, so we thought, let's just chat about we've just woken up from this sixth hangover. And it's like, okay. Yeah. What are we doing?
I feel like I'm a bit behind.
Transfer over.
Have really not had much time to be looking at rules closely of the old world and stuff. While I've been utterly focused on getting all this Cancon prep done. I really want to start playing some games as soon as I can.
Totally. Excellent. Well, let's do that. Let's just jump into it because there's no other real news. There's a couple of things, just announcements, not news, because I don't think there has been news. There was things like the Tawny pack dropped actually on second thoughts, but we'll cover that later and stuff like that. We'll see how that goes. That tournament pack that Games Workshop dropped for.
We can talk about it.
There's little things like that, but go search it up on YouTube. There's heaps of people talking about it. We've never played a game, so I can't even tell you if the tournament pack is even good or not. So let's cover that later. I just wanted to mention the Facebook group, Warhammer. This is more of the Aussie listeners, even though most of our listeners are from the UK. Thank you. There's a Old World Australian Discord. So there's an awesome Warhammer Discord, fantasy Discord that, Kugelfang52 from Herdstone, the dudes we were on podcast with, he started that one and it's huge now. But I wanted to sort of mimic that one a little bit, but just for Australia. So people are bleeding over from our Facebook group into that. But if you want to jump on that, we've got, channels for every faction, as well as like army painting stuff, slow grows, paint and chat groups, and obviously all the faction and also the regional chats, like, like New South Wales clubs and stuff like that. So I want to grow that up. So if you're not in there, jump in there. And then the other thing I'd like to say, and I think Andrew, I got a delivery notice that my order is shipping. Mm-hmm. So from Games Workshop. So I don't know what that means. I'm assuming it's not coming before the 10th. They're just they're just screwing me over, aren't they? They're just like, look,
I got the little box, but you got the giant box coming. I got the little box. So.
Well, I heard people, you see it when it happened, not so much Australia obviously yet, but in the States where when you buy for independent retailer, they ended up putting in the post with like a 2-day delivery thing, but it ends up getting delivered the next day. And so people were getting stuff early.
Ooh.
And I know, Josh, you're the same. You bought some stuff off Gap Games, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. So I'm just wondering, I'm crossing my fingers that maybe one of the box sets will come from that with the rule book, but
hopefully.
Who knows? I'm probably just wishful thinking.
I have yet to receive any shipping notifications from anyone. So I'm feeling a bit jealous.
Well, that's all out at the moment, so who knows? They're probably not worth anything, but I got pretty excited when I got that email saying, your order is on the way or whatever. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Is yours going to the store, but?
Yeah, it's going to the store, and that's the problem, because I'm thinking if it was... if it, for some reason...
They're not going to let that one go.
Yeah, they're not going to let that. It's going to sit in the store for a week.
I'm surprised I got a notification. I remember getting stuff delivered to the store previously, and I never got any sort of notification whatsoever. Personally.
Maybe it's something on the new web store.
Maybe,
I don't know.
Maybe that's a couple of years ago now, so maybe they've changed it.
Yeah. I'm assuming it doesn't mean anything, but it was a slight bit of excitement this morning when I saw it pop up. I was like, it's still 10 days away or 11 days away.
I'm mainly hoping Gap Games will get it sooner, and like we might get to just ship it out. Yeah, and then it'll come.
Yeah, and then it might come. That's what I hope
come before the 10th, because the 10th is a Saturday, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, reality is if it comes on the 10th, it's not coming on the 10th.
No.
Is it? Although couriers generally do deliver now weekends, so who knows?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all the announcements unless you guys have anything. Otherwise, let's chat Cancon.
No, I think we can talk about Cancon, eh?
Cool. Hand it to you, Josh, because you're the main man who started it all and got it going.
I know. Where to start? Where to start, guys? It was just a massive weekend. I mean, it's been a massive month or so leading up to that. as well. Like so much work, so many hours went into it. Even just doing all the lists and stuff and checking all those. And yeah, there were a bunch of lists in the end that after I posted them up publicly, which must have happened after we last recorded, I think.
We'll probably talk about that because I had to change mine.
Yeah,
So
both of you,
covered that.
both of you guys have legal lists.
Okay. Only a little thing. Don't worry about that little guy.
Because I think someone was like, "Oh, and Andrew's got an extra ring on his BSB." And I was like, "What?" I barely looked at it, which is so bizarre. And then I think Colin, you realised yourself that you had an extra banner or something. Oh dear.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it just because had both of you made your list through Battlescribe or New Recruit?
Yeah, well, New
New
Recruit, it's the
Recruit.
Battlescribe file, but I think the validation is probably even a little bit worse. In New Recruit
compared to
at the moment, so I just
Battlescribe,
didn't flag it.
Right.
Yeah. Nothing got flagged on mine.
Yeah, because I feel like Army Builder just seems to be so much more reliable.
Oh, it's solid, especially
absolutely solid.
So, and it looks better as well. So I always like to just, I've said I had to drag that old laptop that I brought to Cancon out, and that's the only place that runs Army Builder, so I don't use it. So I have to pull it out, get it booted up, run it, and then put my list in there and print it out. Yeah. So that's why I use Army Builder.
That's so bizarre. I can run it on maybe my computer's a bit older. I don't know.
But yours are Windows, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, I wasn't.
Yeah. So it doesn't run on Mac.
Sorry,
and
right.
recently on Mac they stopped virtualize. You used to be able to just run Windows and stuff easier, and now you can't. I mean, you sort of can. Won't get into the tech, but my laptop won't do it really anymore. It's a pain in the ass, so just don't do it. So,
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Anyway, that's
because I was using Army Builder a lot to it was time consuming though to go. Okay, here's a handwritten list on Excel.
Oh, yeah.
Let's individually enter it all into Army Builder and check it all works. Like I did it for a number of lists, but I could not do that for every. It was just impossible time-wise.
But I think from learning from that, and I mean, it's probably going to change now, and it's probably a moot point because Army Builder is not going to be old world, and the other old world stuff will probably be accurate.
I think so.
But I wonder if it would be better if you had more people who weren't even. Maybe they are in the. Does it matter if they're in the tournament and then they help you do it? Just load it in, so you divvy it out.
Maybe that would have been helpful.
Send them back.
I mean, the other thing is obviously if you can just do it off the top of your head, but it requires a certain level of knowledge of all the army books, and then also you can easily miss stuff anyway. But I agree. I feel like the old world, because this is probably something that I learned from doing this, in terms of list formatting and that type of thing. I feel like with the old world, it's going to be much easier to get people to submit lists that have been, put through an Army Builder, because that was probably a major source of work was checking a list manually. If I TO in the future, when probably, that's probably one of the stipulations will be the list has got to be put through
even
program.
if things like the old world
just like
builder, that free
like
one
that.
That's one, even if you don't use it, if the TO said, hey, you have to submit them in that format and export it out as that JSON file stuff, send it through, you putting the work back on them, you get the file, you open it up in that and bang.
So you can export it into a JSON file, is that?
There's a JSON file, which is the sort of data file that you can save somewhere. You can do it in text and all that as well. So, but I'm saying, if you want to load it into yours,
should be good.
Just use that owb.json file. And that's the other way to get around the non-saving at the moment. You can save it out onto your cloud drive or your Google Drive and then open it up on your phone. So you can do a little bit of that, but you've got to just do that. I'm assuming they're going to make that better down the track. But
I feel like this is perfectly functional for where we are, which is the game has barely been released. But hopefully we get other programs and I don't know.
New Recruit is getting there as well. Yeah. So I hope it does, and I hope it gets better at it because it's speedier. Because I think it'll be better for the tournaments because then you can even submit your list through the, when you go into the tournaments, your list is there and your players can, my matchup's there, click on it and I can see the guy's list. I think that's way better, but it means everyone has to use it. But
and it's still during the tournament, I did get a bit of feedback that it does take a while to load, which we knew. And I feel like it did turn people off a little bit. That the initial page loading takes 20, 30 seconds. Once it's loaded,
it's ridiculous.
It's actually fine. You can flip between different tabs and it's all okay. And it's just going. But it just takes
Yeah,
little bit of a
I know, that's the
turn-off.
one killer for it for me. And that's why the old world builder, if you're just doing lists and brainstorming and what do you call it, scheming, Andrew? I think the old world builder is really cool because it's like really fast. You just load it up and start fiddling around. Yeah. No, anyway, that's Would you say that's your biggest time suck? Was doing list stuff, or was it other stuff like pre-tournament? Apart from painting and scenery
terrain,
and shit that you did.
painting all those carts and
cows,
all that stuff. I mean, the terrain was fine. The terrain, that was something that I did a lot of in the lead up. For 6 months leading into it. All the hills were done. That I brought was specifically done. Last year, and a lot of the other terrain I'd previously done, but it was just a matter of filling it out so that I had enough stuff that was mobile. Because as I said, I didn't have any mobile hills I could bring. And just the paddocks and stuff was just a bit of fun. But in terms of time,
did anyone take the cows off? Because you were telling me like day one, no one had
no one removed the cows. On the Sunday doubles, I replaced the cows with the sheep and put a different paddock in.
Yeah, did you?
And when that field got full of beastmen, I actually was like, oh look, the sheep are coming out. So I pulled the sheep out like they'd escaped their pen. They were just strewn across the battlefield there. I don't think
that would have been interesting. You should have done that as a mission, man. It's sort of like the cart one. Like the beastmen have to go and kill the sheep, and the other people have to put them back in the.
You got to round them up.
Got to round them up and put them in the field.
That would be fun. Yeah, I think you could probably swing something like that. The only problem is you need then to have multiple paddocks and sheep for all the different tables.
Yes,
which was a fair bit of work. Where was I? So. Yeah, in terms of time though, the list, I think that was a fair chunk, but it was also just dealing with all the different little bits and pieces of logistics and the player lists and making sure that was all clear. Because as I was saying last week, that was a real headache at the end. I think, and it's partly it's just a third-party ticketing system that you don't have direct access to. It's through an intermediary.
And they're just sending you like a Excel sheet or a CSV or something.
Yeah. Well, it was copy and pasted CSV into the email. So
so
but it wasn't even reliable. Like there was people on there that weren't on there.
You're trying to hunt
there
these last couple of people down.
Kieran actually wasn't on the list because he'd been taken off, but he'd actually withdrawn from the 40k tournament. It was only when I went back and double checked everything, and I was like, guys, your final list doesn't have this player on. Where is he? So again, that's another thing I've learned. I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'll just the ticketing's not that it can't be that hard. Wasn't with Castle Assault last year? Wasn't it just you just sent via PayPal to the TO the ticket?
Yeah, they always just do a PayPal link, I think. Yeah,
I'd much rather that.
I'd just run. I mean, I would run Eventbrite. I mean, all the US ones or some is the UK, they run an Eventbrite one. You just pay for that.
So you can just set up a little account through a professional company like that. Yeah. Oh, that might be a good way to go.
Yeah. I just think stuff like that's way easier. But I mean, I'm sure there's others. There's probably better ones even, or cheaper ones. I don't know. But yeah. Again, it'd be awesome at the beginning of such a version like this. That's almost a reset. It's 2024. Let's all just coalesce on, a similar set of army builders, a similar set of tournament systems, a similar set of payment things.
Yeah.
Because how good would it be? And then obviously the ranking, systems would be worldwide and all that. I think it shouldn't be that hard, really. But
no.
I won't get you on a tangent.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, the weekend went great. So I drove up on Thursday, from Melbourne, like a 7-hour drive. Left about 8ish. Got there at 4 p.m. All the guys were really good. After I missed the turn off, I was not concentrating. I missed the first turn off to Canberra, so I was ending up 20 minutes later than I was hoping to be. Oh dear, that's a long drive. I mean, I stopped at Albury, Colin.
Yeah. Aubrey.
Yeah. I still think it should be called Albury. ALBURY. Like, come on. But that was the only break, so it was a long drive. But then when I got there, all the Canberra guys were there, and like everyone who said they were going to bring in terrain did. And they were really helpful to setting it up, and I think it's actually that side of things actually went really well in the end. Finding the tablecloths was a bit of a headache. Again, CGS man, like they were like, go ask this person. I asked them like, no, they go to the front desk. Ask them like, oh no, you should be asking the white yellow coats in the pavilion. And then went back to the front desk, and they were like, oh, actually, they probably haven't been unpacked from the trucks yet, so maybe just wait a while. And then I came back 2 hours later, and I was like, "Have they been unpacked yet?"
And these two places you're going are not close. They're like hundreds of meters down.
But we tracked them down in the end because that was a bit of a stress at the moment because it was like there's no tablecloths here.
We didn't have
for
enough.
A moment. We didn't think we'd
have
have enough table. Like we didn't have any. We'd have just bare tables, you know, like because we knew we didn't have enough mats, so we knew we needed tablecloths. But we thought I thought there were going to be tablecloths already on there. But
what's said on the list they have been provided. Yeah.
But in their defense, well, not defense, but. Last year, Julian was telling me when they ran it that they didn't even have the boards out on the tables. They had to actually go and put the boards out themselves. So at least so in the context of that, I'm like, oh, okay, I shouldn't complain too much because it was at least mainly set up for us anyway. But we ended up getting more mats than I thought we had as well because we ended up with maybe 19 or 20 mats in the end, didn't we?
Yeah, something like that. We only had about probably less than a handful that had to use the
and like Troy Ken had those two massive like boards, like the two big MDF boards that with flock on it and stuff. That, again, that I didn't really know he was bringing, and so there was really only 8 tables that had the tablecloths. You know?
Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So
that's
it worked
good.
out well. And then the actual tournament itself, I really enjoyed it. I was exhausted by the end of it, but actually love, and this is what I feel the same feeling I got from when I was doing the slow grow too. I just love wandering around, watching games. I almost like it just as much as actually playing.
My minions.
Like I had a fair few rules queries and some stuff I didn't know, but just had to make a ruling on it. And others, like it was bizarre actually. Most of the rule queries are stuff from like the middle tables, like the top 4 tables. I barely had a question from at all. They were just off doing their thing, and I was, sorting their own stuff out. I imagine.
Probably half those questions would have come from me. Every time I saw Josh, and it was a rules query. I didn't even bother looking it up. Hey, Josh.
I always say it. Like you sort of know the rule, but you're not confident enough to. You just want that extra little bit of it's this.
You need an impartial body to go.
You end up querying more.
Because that way you don't feel like you're arguing for yourself. I think, I think that's understandable, and I would do that too if I saw the TO walking by. And I think, again, I remember Julian when he was on this podcast a few months ago talking about TOing. That was one thing that happened. Is he found he got a lot more rules queries when he was wandering around, and people could have turned their head and go, "Oi, what do you think of this rule?" Whereas if he stayed over at the front, people only went over if they had a serious question. One of the ones I got multiple times was about clipping, actually, about whether you had to maximize.
We can talk about that in my game. So it wasn't just me. Because that's right, because Jamie Payne was asking about it as well.
I think
in their game, was it?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to go into it really, but it was funny because I think. I mean, this is controversial, isn't it? So, because in the 6th book,
you should use me because my game 3 I can talk about. It was so funny. I mean, I shouldn't say funny, but it's. Should we just wait for them? We can talk about the clipping thing. What do you want to talk about now?
Might as well talk about it now because, I'll talk about it in general.
I'm intrigued.
I'll briefly outline it. It's basically that in the 6th book, in the main book, it says you have to maximize your models, but you don't have to maximize your opponent's models. And I think there's been, a lot of talk that's, the case. Now, 2 things. One of them is that, there's an appendix in the back saying that, you shouldn't be clipping on purpose and you should be maximizing all the models. Well, it doesn't say that necessarily straight out. It just says you should not be clipping on purpose.
Yeah.
But
what's that one line at the bottom, though? There's this other thing about it which made it black and white to me.
Hold on, I can find it. Maybe I can't. Yeah, I can't find it. Yeah, there was something about it should be avoided at all costs or something like that,
Yeah, or something like that.
But the thing is, even without that, I was willing to make a ruling, basically, that, guys, no clipping. Just
don't do
it.
Like, that's what you said to me. Yeah,
even without seeing that in the book, I was willing to just stamp on it because it's just not in the spirit of the game. As much as its rules are written arguably in the main book without looking, if people were aware of the appendix, I was still willing to rule against it because it was just not I don't know. I didn't see it as good sportsmanship. Colin.
Colin. I've never thought of it as bad if it was actually in the rules. And
I know.
I literally thought it was in the rules. I thought that was one of the differences. And I'm like walking around in my head going, oh yeah, 8 you have to maximize both, 6 you don't. Like, not as a negative thing, that's just the rule. But it's not the rule, which is funny. But actually, when you guys showed me the appendix, I went, "Oh crap! Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, the appendix is. Yeah, I should be able to find it. Hold on. Give me like 10 seconds.
But yeah, it came up in my game 3, which we can talk. I mean, probably don't talked about it in my game 3 then. But yeah, there was a point where there was like big unit of Eternal Guard, and I just had my Scorpion coming in from the sides. I'm like, I don't want to get attacked here. I just want to maximize my guy. And who was I playing? Ben. He was like, oh, you have to do both. And I went, I don't think you do. And then that's when I looked up the book and I'm like, it just says my own. I thought that was the difference between 6. And anyway, we were trying to get your attention and like you were busy. And it was like, so we started to play it how I said it because he was like, oh, no, it's cool. It's in the book. He forgot it was in the appendix. See? So he's like, oh, yeah, I don't know. And then so we started to play it like that. But then when you came over, Josh went, oh, just check. And you're like, no, put him in the middle. I went, no, put him in the middle. It didn't actually end up making a difference, but it was good. Good that you just overruled, bang. And then that afternoon, you guys worked it out where it was. Ben must have been messaging Josh, finding it, and found it in the appendix. And then we went, oh, yeah.
It sort of does, yeah. It just, but the thing is, the appendix just says, the important thing does stand when you come across this situation is that clipping is an evil and very wrong thing to do, and every effort should be made to avoid it. But it's also talking about not maximizing your own models, and I think that's part of it as well. Like, it doesn't explicitly say you have to maximize both, even in this appendix. All it's talking about is clipping as such, but I still feel like that's justifies the ruling in that regard.
No, I agree. When I saw it, I went, no, you're right. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, well, that's that vibe whole thing you're getting from those two together.
That's how I felt. It was fair enough. Because Ben was actually telling me just yesterday, I think he said that his later opponent also tried to do it after your game. Because it was he wasn't trying to be gamey, but someone told him that he could do it, and then he was like, I think Ben was like, oh no, Josh has ruled against this. So then he was like, oh, okay, well, we'll just play it normally then. So
good. Cool.
It's like, no, Cancon 2024 was the tournament of no clipping.
Of no clipping. That's good. But you know how in Old World I was saying, oh, they haven't told you have to maximize both. They actually have. I reread it and it's not in the first bit, like where it's like, you must do these things, which is like maximize your models and all that. And then you go down about 2 paragraphs and it talks about both sides being in combat. Like, you're like, why don't you just, clipping's a controversial thing.
Just put it in a more obvious spot. Yeah, and I feel like that is a little bit how that rule book is structured, isn't it? Like, there is little bits here and there. When I've been reading through it today, mainly the first time that I've thoroughly read it, and it's just like finding the little bits of subtle extra rules that how this interacts with that or that type of thing. Sometimes you do have to go searching a little bit. Because one thing I was looking for was like, where was that thing about? I was trying to work out, is it standards that you can count more than one, per unit, or is it close order and stuff? And I was it took me a while to clarify that standards is only one and close order you can have multiples. Because it's not And then the other thing I took ages to find out was confirming that stand and shoot is added into the combat res. Again, I always had to
it's not right under the. Where'd you have to find that?
I can't remember. But it was.
Is that in 6 as well?
I don't think it's ever been in the game before.
No, it's never been.
I got done.
Oh no!
Someone got it in. Oh no!
I don't think it
That's
would have made
okay.
that much of a
Yeah,
difference.
good.
Anyway.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
the classic Sea God list.
Classic. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
The stand and shoots made
It wouldn't be something in their list though.
No,
that
I
does
don't
it,
think
would
it's ever been a thing.
No,
okay.
It's never been a rule before.
Okay.
Nah.
And yeah, a couple of things I want to talk about just with the lists and stuff. Because you guys can probably start talking about your games shortly because I've already been talking for about 20 minutes.
Oh, what about like just final placements and stuff and all that and rankings? Like in terms of like, was there anything list wise or?
Yeah, well, there's a few things about the list I want to talk about. So, I mean, one thing was looking at the top 7 was a pretty crazy non-spread of very.
Yeah.
Oh, do you want to? Should I just share that since we're on YouTube, just quickly?
Yeah. Share it.
Just to give us something to look
something more interesting than our ugly faces.
Sorry, I've just missed. Where are we? What's this tab? I'm trying to share the tab. It's not.
And these have been like obviously gone through and altered. So you were saying for the Wood Elves, you had specific restrictions on army composition anyway. So it's quite strange that even with those restrictions in place, they still dominated.
Do you want player rankings? Is that what you wanted?
Oh,
hang on. How did you get to that other thing? Where did you get the list?
I did it myself.
Armies. Okay. I don't think I can.
That's a photo. I've just linked it into the event page. I could shoot you the URL for it.
Because when I go here, I can't list the army. Hey, filter by army.
I'm sure you can just talk about it.
Yeah, just talk. Yes, it was all Wood Elves and Vamps, was it? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. So Greg Johnson was first, and he had a Drycha, special character army back in the book Wood Elf list. Hold on, I can actually send you. All right, I've sent you the URL, Colin, in the Facebook group. And then second was Adam Wonderly with Wood Elves of the regular Wood Elf army. And third was Chris Penwater with Vampire Counts. And then we had Wood Elves, Vampire Counts, Sylvania Vampire Counts, and Sylvania Vampire Counts in the top 7. So it was just those two armies. And then I think, Richard Nelly had Lizardman come number 8, and he was the first army that wasn't of those two types. It was interesting that the regular Vampire Counts both placed above the Sylvania Counts, because there is, the feeling that the Sylvania is quite a strong list. And after that, it was just a really nice spread of armies of lots of different types, which I quite liked.
Yeah. I liked seeing there's a few orcs fairly high up, which was interesting. Orcs orcs.
Yeah, especially the Savage Orcs. Like I always feel like that's such a zany army. Alex Burkett, and they came 9th, which is an impressive effort. Hold on, I'm trying to sneeze.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, 4-1 is pretty good too. Yeah, only lose 1. Yeah. I don't know. How did his first one go with? He probably beat Frank then, did he, in the first game? Because that was. I feel sorry for those two.
I think
they're obviously people would know they're the rank bonus podcast, and we accidentally matched them up on the first game, even though they drove down together.
So ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, and then I think Frank ended up playing Glenn Hugo, who'd also he drone down with as well.
Right,
so I mean, they came down in a reasonably big group. So I guess if enough other players within the tournament, you're going to end up playing against them. Looking at the new recruit, Alex won that game 15-9. Which is interesting because spoiler alert. I mean, they'll probably talk about it in their own podcasts, but the battle banner really did come to the fore. when I was wandering over there and saw him, I think his BSB had 1 wound left, and he rolled a 6 to save, and then the following combat round he rolled a 6 on the battle banner, and he just destroyed this unit.
It'll do it.
But yeah, I won't talk about it too much because I'm sure they want to chat about it in their hilarious way. Interestingly, so a couple of the lists though, so there was a lot of surprise that we did let Archaon into the tournament at all. I think a lot of people were like, what, Archaon, that's so powerful. But he died a few times, or got down reduced to half half strength a few times. A lot of it it helps that he can hurt himself, and if he rolls a 1 to hit. I think definitely at least one game I know.
Right. Yeah.
It was. I think both of the wounds he caused to himself were from his own sword. But if he takes 2 wounds from himself, that's half his points to the enemy. Like it's hard. He's down to half.
Yeah.
That's 450 points, and just so that is a significant problem with taking him. And then I think he also died from. I think it was the Beast of Chaos Slannesh army list. It took a lot of effort, but I think that they brought him down. And then in another game, he took a trebuchet shot to their head. It was hilarious. Just like, I think it was Josh's Bretonnian army, not me. Josh Skeets.
Yeah. Josh Bretonnian player.
Josh,
Skeets.
Yeah, I played.
How did you play first up? Was he guessing well?
Also had a run in with a trebuchet as well.
How was his guesses in your game? Because I'm impressed he managed to hit the Archaons so accurately.
He had like some little micro bloody laser pointer measure thing going on. It's pretty accurate.
Laser guided trebuchet.
Wait, you're talking about mentally he had it? You're saying?
Yeah, mentally.
What are you talking about? Okay, yeah, right. So he was pretty good at it. That makes sense. Because I feel like even the Archaon's on a 50 by 50 base, like if he's 20 or 30 inches away, it still takes some skill to get it, like to go, that's 24 inches and nail it.
He had 2 trebs, but you can sort of.
Do you have to guess them both at the start, or do you? I've never run with 2 trebs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to do all your guesses.
Yeah, before you start measuring, right? So, I guess you still have 2 guesses. I guess, no, fair enough. Because it was pretty crazy. One trebuchet, rolls. He guesses right. He rolls a hit. And I think Archaon, you can't wound anything better than a 3-up. It's a random rule that he's got. So he had to roll 3-up. Yep, 3-up wound. Then he's got 3-up ward save, fail the ward save. Then you've got to actually get 4 or more wounds to actually nail him. He rolled it like it was incredible. So you can kill him if you can guess right with the trebuchet and roll all the right things.
Be pretty low probability though. Yeah. But where did he? So which army was that, and where did he come?
He didn't do too bad.
He came 36th. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, did he?
Oh, yeah, it's the Hordes.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like it actually was. And then when he emailed about it, he was like, guys, I'm not like a guy who's going to be on podiums. I just want to run Archaon because I bought him from a friend and I don't think I'll ever be able to use him again. And I'm like, that's fair enough. Cool. And I mean, it definitely.
And especially like this is the type of tournament, like it's the end of, like, I know we've heard the end of 6 for ages because we're playing it again, but it, like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like this is a thing that your rankings go into some international thing and everyone's worried about like breaking it. It's almost a bit of fun, you know what I mean? I mean, it is fun. Yeah. It's just a single tournament.
Yeah. And I feel like that army there still was something very interesting to play against. You had to think a lot, and it dominated. Archaon dominated the games he was in, but it was certainly a really interactive and interesting sort of matchup. I'm in 2 minds about another list though. The Sea Patrol list, I just feel like we got him to put a Merdworm in, and that was better than if we'd let it in with 4 bolt throwers.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
I still feel like it just he
didn't even put the Merdworm in combat.
Didn't he? Oh, really?
He left it out of combat.
Because it just didn't have enough interaction on the table for it to actually produce some interesting games.
Paddy was worried about that.
Yeah, I think we were both were. We didn't want to say no though because it was an official list, and we didn't, in the comp pack, like the tournament pack, we were very clear about we want to allow everything in. So we tried our best to let it in a way that might have been more enjoyable, but I feel like in retrospect, I'm not sure if I want to have a Sea Patrol list in a tournament because whenever I was walking around the tournament, whoever was playing Sea Patrol list looked sort of bored. So,
I can get into mine when I hit it. There was some it was very slow.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like some slow dice rolling. I know what we still hit 5 turns in mine,
nice.
but like I was only moving basically because I didn't have anything in combat.
Yeah, fair enough.
So my turn was like 5 minutes, and the rest of the time was just like watching some bizarre slow rolling.
Well, we'll get to that when you get to your game. We can talk about that a bit more. Some of the other lists, like the Snotlings, they. Cameron,
it was funny. We were wondering how they
Cameron
go.
knew that. He said to even before the tournament, he was like, "I know I could have put Giants in this list, and it was probably going to be more competitive if I had just decided to do that. But I decided I really just wanted Snotlings, and so he just took the Snotlings, and it was ridiculous. They just couldn't do much. They were just fodder, He took down a couple of Giants, amazingly enough. I think the pump wagons, like a couple of pump wagons, and then just bodies of Snotlings. Eventually, you're gonna roll enough sixes to take something down. But I just admire him for taking such a ridiculous list.
What do you get? 18 points.
Yeah. Oh man, brutal. The one that did pretty, I was surprised at the other ridiculous list, which is the all-mounted goblin list. Actually didn't do too badly. I mean, it won the coolest army, Eddie Compton's list.
Yeah, such a good army.
It was nice.
Such a cool army. He dropped it the morning of the tournament, by the way. So he was at 8:30 that morning. He was one of the first guys in. And he was like sitting at a table, like looking over his arm, like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm trying to frantically re-glue everything because it's all been like, I think he was they were unloading. The whole box just like, whoosh. I think they were unloading some other army. He was at somewhere else and he was on his way here. And in that process of unloading, his box just got completely dropped onto the floor. So there was a whole bunch of minis that had come off, or we had some arms come off. Didn't look like there's anything that was like snapped in areas that were hard to repair. It just had to re-glue everything onto their bases and stuff. And he was a bit stressed out, but he it was okay. It was a great army. I think that's most of what I wanted to. One more. The other crazy one that I was a bit worried about how this would go was the errantry war list with like the 10 units of 6 knight errant.
Oh yes, yeah.
Now, this one I feel like Paddy probably did want to like push down the number of knights, but I had a feeling like, I don't know, I wasn't convinced that it had enough punch to be able to really push through units, depending on the location and stuff. And the thing is, guys, like, I was generous enough with the terrain, I feel. I don't know how you guys felt, but I feel I was generous enough on the terrain that it did make it a bit hard if you had lots of units.
Yeah, some bottlenecks.
There was bottlenecks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what impeded his ability to really bring his list's power to the fore. So a lot of the time he had 2 or 3 or even 4 units in reserve at the back, and he couldn't get enough of his.
So you could take a piecemeal more. You would never get 8 of them.
That's right. And if you only had 1 or 2 of these units of 6 going in at once, there maybe wasn't enough, force being brought to bear. Because he won games and he did reasonably well, but it's not like he was like right up in the top, dominating with all these knight errants.
Is that
that's Aristotle list? Yeah,
was it? Yeah.
And I mean, like he did, and there were matchups that he did. I think he did dominate with. I think the first game he played. I was against Danny Carroll, the Empire guy, which was probably not the best matchup for Danny. Where was that? There it is. Oh, that was only 14-11 in favor of Aris, in favor of the Bretonians. So even that was a reasonably close game. So like I feel like that list ended up being an interesting list to play against and it wasn't really dominating because of the just the logistics of trying to get that many different tiny buses into combat and the terrain in the way made for an interesting sort of matchup in that regard. I think that's the more I don't think everything. I was really happy otherwise. All the other lists I think were really good. Most people played in really good spirit. There was rules queries, but there was nothing that was ever like heated. There was no arguing with anyone. I think everyone just appreciated coming to play 6 at Cancon when otherwise it may well not happen very easily if we hadn't been Paddy, do you want to do this from interstate?
And it was slightly bigger than last year. So, the scene grew even though the game's gone. And I think that's primarily old world pushing it a bit, probably, do you think? People getting ready.
Bit of a bump.
Yeah.
You guys want to go through your games?
Yeah, we'll smash through them quick. Yeah, well, as quick as we usually do. Do you want to do your game one, Andrew, and then I'll do my game one?
Oh, yeah, I can do my game one.
I don't really have notes. I'm just going to wing it.
I got some notes. So basically, I was playing Josh's Brett.
Oh, were you? I thought I was TOing.
Yeah. Josh's partner in crime. He hasn't played 6. I think he said in like 15
Oh, really?
years.
He was pretty good guessing for not having played 6.
He was. He was a nice bloke to play against too. Like, it was really chilled, which is good atmosphere for your first game. So yeah, we got along pretty well. Had a few chats as the game sort of went on, just seeing how we both went. Yeah, so basically he had his 3 Knights of the Realm blocks, big blocks, double treb, and a bit of chaff. We both deployed pretty central. So I think this was the
this was the challenge one.
The challenge one, yeah, and there was like hardly any challenging actually in it. So anyway, both deployed pretty central. Unfortunately, for my general's intrigue at the court, I ended up getting my mage, and this really screwed me over. I probably didn't really take that into as much consideration as probably what I should have, because it really killed me. Basically, so yeah, it was pretty close. I think it was like turn 1, turn 2. I think it was turn 1 actually. My lord was killed by the treb. My dragon stayed on, but my lord was dead. I was sort of trying to. Yeah, he was. He had his 3 Knights of the Realm buses, and I was trying to sort of do some sneaky little eagles, trying to bait a few charges off. He did charge, but the problem is what I didn't really think about it was when I did flee was the panic setting in, and only had leadership 8.
Yeah.
So my counter charges I had set up, one of them ended up not really working that well at all because my Silver Helms panicked, not off the board, but they blocked stuff and massively out of position. So that kind of stuffed up my left flank a bit. This is still in the center of the left flank. All his chaff was actually going around the outside. It was a little bit bizarre the way he actually did that.
Like yeomans, or do you have just infantry dudes?
Yeomans, and I think he had pegs as well. Oh, he did have pegs. So anyway, the charger I had set up, basically the only thing I could really do was to flank charge him with my chariot, which I ended up doing. That basically ended up breaking, and that big bus ended up smack bang in the middle of my lines to a certain degree, but in front of everything, just in front. So basically, after that, I've just gone in with everything into this big bus. He broke, but I pursued with 2 units, and neither caught him. It was just like, damn it. And that bus had his, I think wasn't his BSB, but it was his damsel, and he had a paladin in there as well, just to help out. So it's worth a few points. And then that sort of put me out of the way. And he ended up just getting some charges in. I'm out just because I didn't go very far with my pursuits. I just got flank charged, and it wasn't very pretty. So I took a pretty big loss. It was quite funny for me because I was going in thinking I actually probably had list on list quite a bit in my favor because he only had the 3 big blocks and I had so much chaff or things that I could throw away. But yeah, it was just those eagles. and just basically the way it all ended up with the leadership, I just and just pursuits and everything, just stuff just didn't go the way it should have. So yeah, that was game one. It was.
And so did you? So scenario points. You said, did you guys get any?
That's a challenge
challenges?
one,
Just or is it just that one?
Nah, yeah.
Like, what was the one you didn't lose your general to a challenge or something like that? Because I think that's what I got. I didn't get many challenges either. Can't remember what that, because I got one. I think we both got 1 point. I think that might have been. Did you get a point if you didn't lose your general in the challenge or something?
Possibly.
I can't
ended up
remember
being like
anymore.
a 20 to 2 or something, or
deleted
20
it
to
from
3.
my brain.
So,
yeah, well, do you want to go to my game one?
Yep.
Yeah, for actually just quickly, and I don't know if you want to retouch on it, Andrew, because my list was illegal. I had the banners, and I'm surprised no one's mentioned this in our battle reports. Like I had a banner on both of those chariot units. You can't do it. So I dropped the +1 to hit banner because I thought, again, I like the healing one because it's throwing dice out. If they, on a critical thing, they might try and throw dice to stop that, or I can let those chariots operate by themselves with the tomb prints, just get healed and moved and move around the board. Even though I know what it's like with my Tomb King, you're hitting on 3s, what it's like, and then you still roll 1s and 2s. So I did like having the +1 to hit banner, but
100%.
But just from thinking more about the list, once I knew I couldn't take that, I went, well, I wouldn't mind fitting Carrion in instead, and I just need to drop an extra magic item, which was that 4+ Collar of Shapesh, which is that one where the Tomb Prince had, that if you hurt him, it's basically 4-up ward, and he gives the wound to his unit. I don't think I've hardly used it. Like the Tomb Prince is throwaway anyway, so I went, well, get rid of that. So I frantically had to paint 3 old Carrion that I had, which they came out okay considering they're just all contrast and stuff. And it's an appreciation for flyers. I think I need more flyers in all my lists. They were cool. Even though they don't do a lot of damage, but they do get you out of trouble sometimes.
That's their role, isn't it?
Yeah. Especially when you're an undead and you can't march and they can just fly 20. I was like, this is good. I should put more flyers in. But it's all going to change probably old world. But so that was my main list change. I was up against Cold of Slannesh. With Taz. Taz ended up winning like the what's it called?
Best Sports.
Best player?
Yeah.
Best Sports. God,
absolutely.
Not best. I think I said best player on my other YouTube video. Best Sports. Because I think Josh, you said you played him last year.
He was great to play. I think I voted him Best Sports last year.
Cool.
He actually polled.
So he,
by the way, just might as well talk about this.
Yeah.
Because on the Best Sports voting, like there was a huge spread. There was like 25, 30 people that had got at least 1 vote. But he got 4 votes. Now, I was thinking about this today.
Wow.
That's like 4 out of 5 of the opponents he played. You're thinking about it, because you only got to get votes from whoever you play, right? That's quite an impressive haul.
And how did he end up? Because I always have a theory that sometimes the best vote goes to Best Sports. Some people do it if they've killed someone and they've been happy getting killed, so they give them a sports vote. But he went like normal, didn't he? He was pretty in the middle somewhere, did he? Or it wasn't like he was at the bottom or anything.
No, he was.
Yeah. It's just him. He's just a good bloke. Yeah.
I think. Well, yeah. Are you saying that you didn't enjoy playing against him? Is that what you're implying? That you're only escaping the vote
I'm
because
saying that if
you felt sorry for him?
4 out of 5, did he get smashed out of 4 out of the 5 games and then people vote for him? Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't that. Yeah.
Anyway. Because actually,
cool.
Actually, he had, one more thing before we move on. This is actually really important. On Sunday, he didn't play the doubles. He actually gave his spot up to someone else, and he wandered off.
Oh,
and he came back. Yeah. I haven't told you this, Colin. I've been waiting to tell you this since Sunday. He gave Paddy and I 3 paintbrushes, 1 for you as well, as presents.
Did he go down and? Oh, what? He's a legend.
To say thanks for doing the tournament. He went down to the shop.
I'm going to have to send him a message
and
then.
just bought them and then disappeared. And I was like, what? Oh, I know. So that's why he won Best Sports, man. Like I couldn't believe. I was like, totally. What, man? You don't need to do this. Yeah. So nice. So I'll send yours up next time I've printed something for you, I think.
Print some stuff. Thank you. No, that's cool. Awesome. I'll have to send him a message. So he had Slannesh, and it was, I won't go through the whole list, but basically a bunch of like cheap sorceresses. One's a general, and then I guess the biggest thing in his list was that Druchii Anointed. You can speak more about it than me, Josh, but the Druchii Anointed with the Mangle, Manhide, Manflayers.
Because he had them scouted.
Together, those
gave
things
the Anointed a scouting
600 and something
cloak.
points between them. Yeah, but only in 6 figures. You know what I mean? And then outside of that, just two repeater bolt throwers, some crossbowers, mounted daemonettes, normal daemonettes, warriors, and then those and one fiend. So like, I guess, and when I guess with this, you know, because you get game one, you've got the list already, and I had the Carrion now, and because he had 2 bolt throwers, I went, cool, this is the game where I move up with Carrion, magic him across the board, turn 1 charge into one of those bolt throwers, and then in his back line with some Carrion. They can't do anything, but they can certainly distract you, you know, especially because he's, Dark Riders movement 9, are they? And the other mounted daemonets movement 10. So I'm figuring they're coming around quick. If I can then have people in his back line, he's going to be thinking a little bit like, oh, hang on, maybe I don't want that. And then those other units are so, like I said, 600 points in those, you know, good. I mean, they're good units if they hit you, but if I can shoot them with my archers, they're toughness 3. Eventually, I can get those. Like I was really hoping to get them, but in the end, it ended up having this big forest in the middle, which was a nice piece of scenery, but a bad piece of scenery to play on because none of the stuff came off.
I had no idea that
yeah, and like so it was really the only place he ended up could scout. He went into there, and he was in and out of it to a way that I couldn't really. Like I think I ended up killing 4 of the man flayers, but couldn't kill the Druchii. I got some wounds on him, but that was the frustrating bit. I just couldn't, like, I didn't have a lot to. I didn't want to get too close with my archers because one of the archers is a bunker for my Hierophants as well. So like it was a bit of a struggle. So it was even using my chariots, like pointing them at that bush, but you only get like 2 shots from the front rank, and it wasn't enough. But in terms of the rest of his army, though, like I did send my Carrion across. Of course, the first thing I did was not move it up enough, and I was literally half inch short from the bolt thrower on turn 1. And I'm like, you're kidding. It's the right move. And I fucked it up. And then he's going to like just charge or shoot with his bolt, like his repeater crossbow is right into it. So he did all that, but shocking dice roll, he only killed 1 Carrion. So when it was my turn to, I could still go into the bolt thrower. And then he'd positioned his general sorceress right behind the bolt thrower. So I killed it over and into his general. Yeah,
why did he leave it there? Like, surely you could have seen that coming. Oh my god! Right.
Yeah. So I'm lucky. There was a few things like that where he just had a lot of these sorceresses that were like near units. So when I went into a unit, I could then punch through them. Right. My Scorpions, I didn't entomb. I had them moving across the board, and they sort of played around in the middle, and like, you know, really it was taking out like his mounted daemonettes and Dark Riders were like fighting with them. And then my big chariot with my Tomb King got into like I think I wiped out his demonettes and then sort of got into his witch elves, and might have been a Scorpion in his witch elves. So like I damaged like a fair bit of his. It looked like I was in control. The problem is 1 Dark Rider survived, 2 of those man flayers survived, and stuff like that. And then his Fiend was left on like a wound or whatever it was, and it ended up being an 11-11. Because his Fiend ended up getting one of my chariots. I think he killed them all or close to it. And I was like, So, like, I felt like I don't know if it would have massively changed it, but if I didn't make that bonehead move with the Carrion, I probably might have been a turn ahead, if you know what I mean. Like, because, and that might have helped me. Like, just even inking out 1 more Dark Rider and 2 more of those man flayers, that's
the man flayers is
another 400 victory points or something. Do you know what I mean?
Did you get to end of turn 6?
We got to 5, I think, or something. Yeah. So that's the other thing. You know, probably played a bit. No one played slow deliberately. We'd probably just still check it. Like I feel like he's pretty. No, I wouldn't say new, but he's probably like me. We haven't played a lot, so you know we had to check a few things and stuff like that. Yeah. So 11-11 draw. I mean, it's not bad. Like I was okay with it because I was a bit worried about that list because at the same time, if any of those fast units get into my Hierophant and stuff, it just kills it straight away, and then I'm dead, you know?
So, then you cactus.
So, and that didn't happen. So,
cool.
Game 2.
What was your score, Andrew, on the first one?
I just got them up before. It's 222.
Okay. Right. Sorry for asking you that.
Thumping.
Just had to clarify. Brutal. Brutal.
So match 2, I was against Ross with his Vamps. Ross from
Ross
Sydney.
Preston.
I played him at Castle Assault. Yeah, another really nice dude. It's very
Did
good.
you play him at Castle
chill to
Assault?
play against.
Cool.
Yeah, I did.
Funny.
Ah, wow. You played him again.
So yeah, we sort of knew each other. Yeah, no, he's great to play against. Actually, it's very enjoyable. So yeah, basically up against Vamps, we both sort of deployed, across 2/3 of the board.
Well, this was, and this might be why, this was the random deployment table quarter mission.
Oh yeah, it was too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be why you're across the board.
Oh my God.
But we weren't. Funnily enough, none of us were really in a really bad position.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Most of us, all the good stuff was sort of in the center, and funnily enough, my bolt throwers ended up on a hill, my only hill, so it worked out pretty well. He was rolling a big block of knights, black knights with a white lord or whatever it is in there. He was rolling a giant. He had dogs. He had bat swarms. He had what are they? Spirit hosts. And then he was running a big, well, not huge, like a 20 block of skellies with a vamp lord in there. And he was running a level 4 necro in a zombie block. That's right. So yeah, it was sort of not over the top or anything, but obviously the level 4 was pretty, a lot of points in that. I think he was trying to go for that magic sort of heavy list. But anyway, yeah, I'll get into it. So basically, he's brought his chaff up in the first turn, and funnily enough, he plugged his black knights straight in front of all my good stuff. Like I had my bullshit banner, silver helm unit. I had my dragon right next to it. I had like a chariot. Even he said after, he's like, oh, probably should have done that.
Do you mean like deployed across from it, or like
No,
ran
he
up?
moved.
Oh.
Yeah, that was his first move. He's moved straight.
Okay.
Like he
in front of
essentially
me,
offered it on a silver platter.
Yeah, he's like taking his 16-inch march, whatever it is, and march 16 inches, just right in front of me. I'm just like, and that on that side, he only had, what did he even have? He had spirit, his spirit hosts, like well behind it, because the spirit hosts were like, I was a little bit worried about the spirit hosts because it didn't actually have any magic.
Yeah, same. I ran into
weapons
them too with no magic
all.
weapons.
So I'm just like, oh god. So funnily enough, I've charged into his.
Did you have a bit of trepidation about declaring that charge, by the way? Or were you feeling like, oh, there must be a trick up his sleeve?
What have I done wrong?
Yeah,
what's he got planned?
Has he got a super bullshit banner on this? It's just gonna wipe
what am I missing? What's going on? So I've charged in, just trying to work out what the hell was going on. And yeah, he's basically crumbled completely. He might have taken off like one silver helm. I challenged out his white lord, I believe. And yeah, he's just, I think his white lord swang back. I killed my champion, I think, from memory, and that was it. He might have, there might have been a second silver helm, but there wasn't a lot. So that was quite a few points right there. His spirit host came up, and he brought a giant onto that flank. And on the other side of the board, he's like slowly bringing up his vamp. It was kind of like maybe on his center. And on that side of the board, all I had was 1 unit silver helms and a chariot. And there were some archers sort of supporting that side of the board. So there was sort of two lanes, if you get me. And basically on that side, he's brought his dogs up. His dogs charged into my chariot. I took some standard shoots. He ran my chariot down. I didn't do well in combat. And the bat swarms were in front of my silver helms. Funnily enough, I've charged into them, but he hasn't actually brought his dogs in on the side. He kind of just took his dogs down into maybe the bottom corner and just sat there. And then I was slowly sort of bolt throwing them off as that sort of went on. So anyway, if we keep going, the Spirit Host ended up just going into the flank with my bullshit banner. And at the same time, I've charged into his vamp unit that was coming down with my dragon, and I just challenged out his vamp. I didn't know how that was going to go.
Scary.
So that was, but I'm like, yeah, I was really worried because this giant was like bearing down on my Silver Helm unit, and he had the Spirit Host there. So I'm like, oh, I've got to do something. I actually thought I was going to lose against the Spirit Host and this giant coming in, but funnily enough, I'll get to that in a minute. So as you know, obviously, the bullshit banner does what the bullshit banner does, and ended up popping these. I think it took 2 rounds, but ended up popping these Spirit Hosts, and then I turned to face the giant in my turn, and then
got a charge off.
Well, he charged into me.
Oh,
so
okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think I charged him, didn't kill all the Spirit Hosts. On his turn, killed the Spirit Hosts, and then on my turn, I've turned, and then on his turn, he's charged me. So that's sort of how that went down. The dragon was super lucky. So I was doing a few wounds. Like you think, oh yeah, dragon's going to be able to take down a vamp. Yes and no. So obviously, vamp, weapon skill and all that. I was sort of popping off a few wounds, but he was doing about the same wounds back to me. I think maybe I might have got one more wound, but he had like ranks, banner, outnumber.
So your dragon is in combat by itself with these zombies and the...
Yeah. So
okay.
I was in combat with his skeleton block and his vampire.
You've got a
Found
picture.
one.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So,
I was going to say if Josh has any of these pictures, I've got pictures of mine. But
so that's
cool.
that's just before I charged. So obviously I took out that look at you go. I took out the Black Knights, and then you can see coming up from the top right.
Yeah,
that was his vamp,
the
and then
giant and the,
yeah. So that came down.
Well, you're playing on my table there.
Oh yeah, it's a lovely table.
You've played on that scenery before.
So yeah, that's basically what we're up to. So finally, the dragon killed off his vamp, and at about the same time, I managed to, even though he charged into me, I managed to take down enough wounds to take off his giant. So I got a bit lucky there. So obviously everything started crumbling. And then I had my Silver Helm unit. They finally wiped off his bat swarms, and then the Silver Helm unit and the dragon went into his last unit with his level 4 necro, and yeah, that was it. So pretty much it ended up being a pretty big win. Let's have a look at my score here. So it was a 23-2.
Right.
So yeah.
Mm.
So that was that game. But yeah, you can see there he's just kind of literally just moved up with his Black Knights, and it's just, he said to me, he's like, I don't know what I was doing with that.
Oh no.
Okay. You just think they could take the charge, or he just sometimes just do dumb moves,
just because they got killing blow, he just like, I just thought I could absorb it
Mm.
and just get some killing blows in.
Nah.
But obviously I'm going first, so I killed a hell of a lot, and the only thing that he could really get back was going to be the white, and the white was in a challenge, and I think it's only got like 3 attacks, so yeah. That's all she wrote. How'd you go, Gomo?
I don't have any photos of your one.
I've got heaps, but I won't go through them all. I might bring one up though, does it? Because it does help. Hey, I'll just bring up one just for.
If we're streaming this anyway, you might as well on YouTube. You might as well have the photos up.
I'll just flick through a few. So I'm playing Derek's Orc and Goblin list, and like I said, if that was that random deployment thing, and I think it screwed him more than it screwed me for once. Like, because usually I don't like this one. Undead, but most of my stuff, I'm pretty sure all of it pretty much ended up in the center, except for one scorpion on the left. This is like, this shot has turned into turn 1 because I forgot to take a picture of deployment. But he got screwed around with it. It's a pretty standard old school almost Orc and Goblin list. I didn't think it was going to be, it's not a scary matchup or anything. It's just orcs do what orcs do, and they either fall apart or they actually do go well, and then you're sort of But because of the way the deployment worked, he ended up on his left flank, like which right on the top right of that picture. His Night Goblin unit with his 3 fanatics and his boar unit, like just standard boar boys were out there by themselves.
Yeah.
No general. And then his Black Orcs and a Goblin Chariot and Goblin Wolf Riders right on the right flank with his general and BSB and the Black Orcs. So they like it was just split. And in the middle, he just had some Wolf Riders, a Boar Chariot, and the Doom Diver. Oh, and sorry, the left flank had the Giant as well, which is a cool Marauder Giant.
Yeah.
So I mean, this time I wasn't going to get it wrong. So I moved my carrion up and did it in ready for a turn 1 charge into that bloody Doom Diver. And then just, I was moving, like kept all my Scorpions. No, I did entomb one of them. So you can see a purple marker I put over near the Black Orcs. Really, and then this is Josh's terrain too. So it looks awesome, by the way, if people are looking on YouTube.
Thanks, guys.
The cool thing, the only thing I was really worried about initially was, there was 2 things. I was like, at some point I have to face the Giant, and I'm not sure, like one Scorpion's going to struggle to do it, but if we can get 2 in there, it might eventually eat through it.
Yeah.
Or maybe get a Chariot charge in and try and do it with my great weapon guy. But to get there, I didn't want the Fanatics smashing through my Chariot, so that was the main thing. But the way the terrain is, his Night Goblins and Boar Eyes can't come through. There's just like a gap. It's going back to what you said, Josh. There was enough terrain here where you had to like maneuver around it. So the cool thing is I knew straight away I've got a few turns here for these. So I tried shooting his, basically I'll talk about the right flank. The right flank I tried shooting and magic his Night Goblins down a bit. And I was almost tempted to magic my Chariots over 2 or 3 turns on the other side of this little pond, which would have been within 8 of his Night Goblins to fire them off.
Yeah.
And this is so funny because I was literally thinking that in my head, okay, I could do that in probably 2 turns. It'll be turn 3 and, but then they're stuck over there. That's it. They're not doing anything else all game, but they got rid of the Fanatics. And then I go over to the right-hand side of the battle, the left-hand side, and I've charged my Carrion across the board. So in my turn 1, it was my turn 1, I got, because I was second, I got my Carrion into his his Doom Diver, my Scorpion into his Boar Chariot, and my big General's Chariot unit into the first lot of Wolf Riders, which had other Wolf Riders behind them, and then that's close to his Generals and all that. So like he had like he had 1 Night Goblin Wizard, I think. He just couldn't stop my spells and no scroll.
3 Dispel Dice and no scroll.
I think so, or something. I'm just looking at his list. Not a lot. Might have had. No, I think that's all he had.
Yeah,
so he just couldn't stop it. And so that all went really good on my turn 1. Obviously, I wiped out the Doom Diver, and then I was like, this is what Carrion are for. And so with my turn 2 or whatever, I just moved them towards the Fanatics, but on the other side of the wood type thing, and he had to fire them. Yeah, so he had to fire the Fanatics way earlier than he would have liked, and I was able to magic and shoot them off. I eventually shot enough Night Goblins that they panicked and went back, but they didn't actually loot. I don't think he lost them. I think they stayed right back. I think he might have even rallied them. No, sorry, he did. Sorry, I'm lying. They did go all the way off. But his Boar unit eventually just didn't even come into like I said, you might as well leave them back there so I don't get them. You know what I mean? Like, just stay away. And then what happened on the left was eventually my big Chariot unit went all the way through those Wolf Riders, got into his General's unit. He had some shocking dice rolls earlier because he got some charges off with his Chariots and Wolf Riders on, and even these Giants at one point into my Scorpions, like different Scorpions. I just couldn't kill them, and they just were just stuck. My Scorpions ended up just doing so well. I think the Giant eventually got the Scorpion, but he was there for like 4 turns of combat.
Yeah.
And by then I could bring in the other Chariots and stuff, and it got him. And then it took 2 turns because he's Black Horse. I broke them on turn 1. They ran, but I couldn't catch them. And then I had to do it again. But eventually I got the whole General's unit. So it ended up being like a 22-2, I think.
Yeah.
Win.
So that was his General's unit up the back.
The Black Orcs. Yeah. So, I just, Derek's probably, I don't know if he used to play, this is an old army, you could see it's like old 4th edition stuff. So I think he just played a long time ago. And
I think he said, that he brought it out of storage from like 15, 20 years ago, he was telling me. So
Yeah. So he's a good bloke, and
Lot of
he
dust to
took it
blow
on the
off.
chin. It was just one of those
Yeah,
ones
yeah.
where it's like, sorry, dude. Not only did the positioning and the mission go my way, but also my dice rolling initially. Well, he's anti-dice rolling. I mean, he was rolling like 1 on impact hits and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it just, and I couldn't believe my scorpions just holding out, going, oh yeah, I'll sit here and just keep bashing your boar chariot, and eventually killed it. You know,
With that forest and the way those two units sort of got stuck there, it's interesting now thinking about it. So in the context of the old world being that forest would only reduce movement by 1, is that a
you'd
better
eventually
thing, or what do you think?
I think
Because it would open the battlefield
like
up a lot
it.
more with that change.
Well, yeah, and I mean, as bad as this is in the old world, where they've actually decided you can decide with your opponent if it's dangerous or not,
bizarre,
but if it's
isn't it?
just difficult,
Yeah.
I think it's better to be able to at least. I like that it blocks line of sight, not like bloody 8th where you can pretty much see everywhere.
Yeah,
so you still
you
can't see through it.
Yeah,
it's a charge, but you can move through it at not a ridiculously.
Because he would have been
dumb
12 inches through that
penalty.
forest. He would have got to the other side of that forest in pretty much 1 turn, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly. He could
just march straight through.
And I also like that you don't have to do that dumb, like, you move full unit, hit the edge, and then you got a half your movement. I like it's like, did you touch the forest? Yes, -1 movement.
Yeah.
And if you charge, take your lowest dice roll. So like, I like that it's a little bit more forgiving, which means we can put more.
Well, that's what I'm
terrain
thinking.
on
I
the
think
board,
we might need to use more impassable terrain to make up for the fact that your difficult terrain, your ponds, fields, and forests aren't really that much of an impediment. So I reckon to get that balance right, I think we might need more, rocks and buildings and stuff that is just in the way.
I haven't got to the point. Like, is it like 8th? Is there some rules around chariots and even cav that those difficults become dangerous or not? I don't know.
In 8th edition,
I haven't got to all those rules.
Yeah,
no, in old world.
I read it today and I can't remember.
Definitely
chariots
for sure.
I assume, chariots, yeah.
But I'm just wondering about cav, because I think we're going to see more cav, and if it makes difficult terrain dangerous, then that's probably a good neutralizer a little bit.
Yeah, because it's what you roll. It's a roll of a 1 and you just take a wound, which is pretty punishing. I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Cool. Game 3, Andrew. We have to speed these up.
Speed this up. All right. So it's, up against orcs and
Josh,
goblins.
are you right? Sorry, Josh. Did you?
No, I said I've got one photo of yours, Andrew, but I'm not sure. It looks like it's sort of the last third of the battle by the look of it. So I'm not sure when you wanted me to bring it up.
Oh, maybe. Nah.
All right. I'll bring it up.
Do I have to stop, or you can boot
I can't
me off?
boot you off.
Okay.
You probably can boot me off because you've probably got some kind of admin privilege or something.
Maybe.
Admin privilege. All right, I'll keep it. So we've got me up against the Wyvern list. So basically, that brings back.
When you say Wyvern, is this the double Wyvern?
The double
Wyvern. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
double Wyvern list.
We talked about that one, didn't we? Last week.
We did.
Yeah,
maybe
we did.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good picture.
Oh, thanks.
What's going
on. Thanks. I take that as a compliment to myself.
Yeah.
My photography skills, not as the fact I happen to want to buy and take a quick snap without thinking about it.
So he had unit night goblins, 2 giants, 2 wyverns. He had orc unit of some description. I think they were just general standard orcs with his general, who was a level 4 shaman. He was running a rock lobber, git launcher. What else did he have? Oh yeah, the snotling bases, and I think that was it. Anyway, so basically he deployed pretty center heavy with everything, but he had 1 wyvern and 1 giant on each flank, like well out on the flank. I wasn't too sure how I was actually going to tackle this. I deployed pretty badly. As in, like, just didn't really think it out all that well. First turn, he got the turn, and he's charged into my reavers, which I left too close. So we got a turn 1 charge off. So I had to flee. My reavers ran off the board. And then basically he's just stumbled forward with his dragon and, wyvern. And I had a little bit of shooting on that side and a chariot, so I'm just kind of trying to keep him a bit busy. On my turn, I've basically I had all my silver helms in the middle and my dragon in the middle, and I just sent my eagle up to do what Colin did, and just took out, set off his fanatics within 8, and I also charged into his
Snotling base, is it?
Snotling,
Oh, yeah,
with
cool.
my other one. They were there for ages. It's like you had to get 2 attacks, and he wasn't doing anything else. So it was a big sort of pillow fight. The one thing that did kind of suck was his Git launcher and rock lobber was just chipping away at my dragon. And yeah, I was also a little bit cognizant of where his wyverns and everything were, because I was like, well, if he gets a charge off, I'm probably going to be in a bit of trouble. So there's a little bit dancing around going on. But basically, I ended up taking the dragon up to the top, and I took off the rock lobber, which was pretty good. I had this little plan in mind because I'm like, well, I can't, just the way I was positioning his wyverns, I couldn't get into a position where I could charge them, just because it was moving them about. So I'm like, I'll stuff it. I'm just going to go back and have a stab at his general. So with my dragon, I get a panic check. Obviously, you know, I don't know what the leadership is. It's probably 8 or something, not that great, on his general. So I'm like, there's a good chance I can panic him, and then obviously might be able to get a charge or something in with that. So anyway, I've gone over with my dragon. After I got his rock lobber off, I killed a bunch of guys in that his general's unit, and he passes his panic test. I even had an eagle waiting for the charge as well. So I'm like, if he panics, then I can charge him.
Yeah.
So that didn't go very well. So I'm like, oh, there goes that grand plan. But then it's his turn next. And what happened? He failed his terror test. So he's ran off into the middle of the board. And I'm just like, oh, thank God. So basically, I ended up on my next turn. And while this is all going on, he's sort of chipping away, took all my units off on the left, which was bolt thrower. I had archers in there, and I had a chariot, and he's took off 2 wings on my chariot, but didn't kill it. And the chariots fleed from a combat, and I think he ended up not pursuing or something like that, or maybe he pursued, just didn't make it. But basically, you can't really see it, but in the forest on the left there, I've just got a chariot sitting in there, and he pursued in. The chariot's gone into the forest and took a bunch of wounds. So there's a wounded up chariot just sitting there. But the funny thing is he wasn't going into my bullshit banner unit. It was amazing how many people did not want to actually charge that unit, even with rears. They're just staring at it. So he's just
even with what? Sorry,
even with a rear charge, I think.
Oh, even with a rear charge.
Try and kill that fucking BSB from the back.
Yeah, well, that was the whole thing. But I can obviously challenge him out. So anyway,
right.
So I had this other Silverhelm unit trying to line up charges with him, his 2 like wyverns, and he's trying to dance around, and so it was this big dance in the middle with those. So funnily enough, anyway, so the dragons charge took that unit out, and he ended up pretty much smack bang in front of that giant. So the giants charged into, I think it was my flank or my rear or something like that. I think it was my flank. No. Yeah, it was my rear, because Josh ended up coming over, and remember I was trying to do that charge, and the giant was in the way, and I thought that my charge was gonna, with the bullshit banner, my big silver helm unit, I was trying to get a charge off, and I thought there was enough movement in it where I could get past the giant's base. I'm probably not making this sound very good, not painting a very good picture, but basically the giant's base is in the way, and I thought I had like a rear charge, but when I wheeled, I thought there was enough clearance between obviously my frontage and his base, and everybody's like, "Nah, that's not going to make it." I'm like, "Nah, I think it will." So I took the charge. Sorry, my dragon was in the way, not him. My dragon was in the way, and it couldn't go. It wasn't even close. It was like a base and a half of the cavalry bases, so it was a good, inch and a bit. So they were stuck there, and he had a wyvern behind me. funnily enough, he still did not charge my unit. He still kind of sat there. So he ended up killing off my dragon. Then it was my turn. So I've sent my Silverhelm unit into his giant, and he's come up behind me with his for his turn. I didn't obviously kill it this turn. He's come up behind me and rear charged me with his wyvern with a BSB. What's happened next is I've challenged out his wyvern with my champion, and the rest of my unit managed to kill his giant. Then the giant's fallen over, smack bang onto my unit and his wyvern, and it's taken off. Yeah, and this is where the bullshit banners come out and shine. So the first one, he's had a rear charge, and I'm in the front, and I managed to get a 5.
Oh wow!
And
on the banner,
won the combat or something.
Oh my God.
Yeah, on the battle banner, stayed in combat. And then on this second one, his giant's fallen over, killed my mage, killed 2 guys or something. Plus I lost the challenge by a heap. It's done all this damage. Funnily enough, the giant landed on his wyvern as well and did 2 wounds. So for some reason, those wounds count to combat. You combat res, even the giant falling over.
Hilarious.
And I'm just like down by a heap. But then rolled a 6 on the bullshit banner. Won the combat. He's lost BSB double rolls, 2 rolls with the reroll, the leadership test for the break test. And then I ran him down. And he's just like, it was so swingy. He's like, what the fuck? Sort of thing.
You had no right to win that combat. Absolutely no right.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
And the chariot off to the side had like 1 wound left, and he's that one in the forest. The chariot's gone into his wyvern, killed his other wyvern, but then his guy on top lived and killed me back. So it ended up being like super swingy, and it came back to an 11-11 draw.
Oh, wow.
Probably didn't paint a very good picture there. But anyway. All right, go, mate.
Wow. Ah, that's good. Oh, that banner, man, that is just, yeah. You need to
when you need it,
yeah,
it's there.
I feel like you need to go into that thing. You need to be aggressive in a way, but you need to have the tools to sort of kill that BSB. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. If you can challenge him out, it's not too bad, but obviously, yeah.
Because, yeah, otherwise you'll keep him around and join him to combats and just override.
Well, I had the war banner as well in that unit, so, you know, that's
bad.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the next game 3 was against Richard, one of our. That's not what I'm trying to do. Share, not prompt.
The Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon, Richard. So, and the funny thing is, we were going to. Does this work if I just press that? No, it didn't work. Sorry, I was just trying to maximize it and it didn't work.
He's a nice bloke, Richard.
Yeah, he. Sorry, this is the my other battle report sort of screen that I usually use.
Yeah.
But the we were joking with Josh about how can we get me and Richard paired up, just have a game. But we ended up getting paired up.
Yeah, you tried to entice me to alter the draw, so you have to get tied up.
Yeah. We knew you weren't going to say yes, but it was funny.
No, I wasn't. Never going to say yes.
Game, this scenario was really nice to my TOs, aren't I? Trying to get clipping in.
So bullshit I had to deal with. They were the main problem.
So the that's right. So I almost had to get a warning. This was the Fortitude one, and he has like 11. I think it was 11 or 13 or something, and I've got like 7. So I was like, oh crap! But this is, I don't know. I mean, I talk about this on my own battle report that I'm going to launch tomorrow about these games. But like, I find game 3 is always a struggle for me because either at Castle Assault I'm pretty drunk by then and I don't care. I just want to roll dice and drink. Or in this case, I wasn't drunk.
No
but
alcohol.
You just buggered, you know, and you got this 15-minute gap where you find out what table you're on, got to pack your stuff and who you're playing, and then what their list is, and suddenly you're just like, I'm flustered. Plus, I was talking to him, and I hadn't played Lizardman since I used to play against them a bit in 8th, but I just I knew they'd be magic heavy and stuff. But I made some 2 bonehead decisions.
Real
right
bonehead decisions, yeah.
real bonehead decisions. One of them is I didn't entomb any of my Scorpions because when he started putting some of the crappy stuff down and I started deploying, I don't know. I thought he would come at me a bit. I just thought that's, I don't know,
When do you
that's what I see
nominate the
Lisbon do
entombing?
a bit.
Do you do it at the start of?
You have to do it before
anyone puts anything down?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So otherwise I wouldn't, as soon as you know they're casting, I would have.
Yeah.
But I just didn't, in my brain, it didn't even register.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking
fair
about
enough.
it. Even if you thought he was coming at you, you still should have put him down because he's got a crap ton of poison. So he can just like poison them off with all his, well, not crap ton, but he's got,
a lot.
He's got poison attacks as well. So that was a dumb decision. And then the other thing is we were just quickly chatting about terrain and what he's, because his stuff, we had the army display. So, oh no, we didn't. He just had it on his display board, which is down on the side of on the ground, and I sort of couldn't, because you see all these skinks, I didn't know if he had 2 or 3 units, and I said, how many units do you have? And he said 2, but I forgot that he also has chameleon skinks, which are not the skinks that he put on the board. Like I just wasn't even looking. So I didn't even set up that there'd be scouts. And I'm just like, I'm such a doofus. Like it's literally, he's got his army sitting right on the side. I didn't even look at it. I'm just like, oh, you're an idiot. And then
it's an easy mistake to make.
So basically it ends up, I mean, I'll go to one shot if people can see it, but it's like turn 1, he's got chameleon skinks around right here on an unprotected flank with my skull, dude. And I have to get across the board because he's just castled. And I picked his Slann as that fortitude thing. So if I could kill the Slann, I could probably win the game, at least scenario. But
I feel like if you're killing the Slann, you're doing pretty well.
A shit ton of stuff.
You're winning the game.
But like, I'm like, yeah, well, that's true too. But just in general, if I had 3 Scorpions at the back, I might have caused some havoc. I don't think, in reality, I wouldn't win this, I don't think, because the other big clincher is he has like 9 dispel dice and he can store power dice as dispels a bit as well. I don't know what level and stuff. But he just shut my magic down. And without any magic, I'm not moving across the board. I wasn't healing anything. He was chipping off with poison and stuff. And it just fell apart. I think the biggest highlight was only got 2 comets off as well. And when they do, they all went off pretty early, but they took a chariot at a time and I can't even heal it. And it quickly just got out of hand. His Scarvet, I did take him out with my general, so that was fun. But that was really about it. It just was a tabling. And with his Pterodons, he had 2 units of them. And each time they came in, I'd actually beat them in combat, but they can do this thing where they can instantly just like basically retreat rather than run away. And so I just couldn't end up getting them. I was trying to shoot them off and kill them, but they just, I couldn't even get them. I'm not even sure I killed, I think his salamanders died in the end, mainly from themselves potentially. But I don't think I really took anything off in the big scheme of things, and he took pretty much everything off. So I went down 1 to 22 and I was just like, far out. Like, I don't think it would ever be a win with that, just like with that magic dominance, but I would have liked to see what happened if I'd been able to get all 3 Scorpions behind his line, at least a couple of them, just causing enough havoc to allow me to get across the board a bit more and not have as much focus on my stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
And then knowing about the Scorpion, the scouts, I could have killed those dudes with all my archers, but I just wasn't in position to do it because I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, God. So I ended the day with, 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. 34.75, but then I did think, look, I just need to win 1 game on day 2 and I'm happy because I always go for 2. That's all I want.
Yeah.
But with the draw, same as you, Andrew, I was like, oh, if I get 1 win, I can't lose. Like I can't have a losing record. So, and I might even be able to get that middle trophy, the cut one, the halfway hero.
Much sought after halfway hero.
Yeah. So that was it. That was my game. Game 3 against Richard. So, awesome bloke to play against. And we got pictures and stuff. But I need to have a better showing next time. That's a bit embarrassing.
It's all right. You're allowed 1. I had 1 in the first game, so got out of the way early. Game 4, Dwarfs. So this was the supplies one.
The cart one.
Yeah, so you had the movable cart and there was the other static supplies. That's basically all your 5 points were drawn into that. So being against Dwarves, his army had like a big unit Ironbreakers, big unit of Hammerers maybe, and a big unit of big unit of Longbeards, Ironbreakers, break. Oh yeah, I got.
Was this sort of like that standard dwarf list we were talking about? Was that this
Yeah.
army or another
Oh,
one?
it wasn't that, but it was very similar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he had warriors, ironbreakers, and longbeards, and he had a very killy lord, very tough killy lord on shield breakers, or shield
this was the
bearers,
cart
sorry.
scenario, wasn't
He's
it?
had. This is the
Yeah.
cart. He had. You can't see it there. Spoiler, but there was a cannon right next to that forest, which could pretty much see everything that I had. And then on top of the hill, he had a organ gun, thunderers, and there you can't see it there, but there was a bolt thrower with an engineer strength 7 buff, so it could take out chariots in one go, and it took out the chariot.
Oh, nice. Oh, no.
So anyway, it was. This is actually quite late into the game. So basically, I deployed very heavy, as you can see in the center, because of supplies. Obviously, they're quite in the center, and he's just decided pretty much to castle up in this corner.
Interesting
Which I
choice
thought was very strange
for this scenario.
I thought he was going to go straight along that line. Like I didn't have any problems with the bloke at all. But
sorry, while you're saying that, did you find people went for the cart more than the static objective?
You asking me or
what?
Oh, either of you, yeah. Because I feel like people go for the figure thing; it's really cool, but really the other objective was worth more.
Well, if you're asking me, he didn't go for anything. So
okay, yeah.
I didn't get a.
Obviously, yeah, because he kind of castled up, but from Josh,
I didn't get enough of a sense of either one. Yeah,
a read on it. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, first turn. This is probably where it comes down to: do you want to be a dick? Do you not want to be a dick? Like, what's the intent? So he had his cannon facing everything, and he put his dice out, and obviously, I got the laser thing, whatnot. I don't believe he said to me what his intent was with the cannon. So he's shot, it's clipped. I thought he was trying to clip my silver helms and my chariot, but what he's actually done was just said, "Oh no, I want to hit both your chariots." But then I was like, but it was way off where he actually put the dice. Like it didn't line up, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, it's just one of those things. I'm just like, oh, okay, whatever, just move your dice. So he's moved his dice over, end up going through both chariots, and he got a 1 to wound, so it didn't actually matter. He didn't kill either
poetic.
chariot, didn't even hit him. Yeah, it was. So it's just like, oh, well, lucky that didn't actually make any difference. But then his bolt throw ended up kicking in and just blew those chariots away. So I was taking the chariots around to the left. He also took off with his cannon, a eagle. So, and my Illyrian Reavers, you can't see it there, have taken off the cart. So
it doesn't run off with it.
Runner. Is that what you did?
Yeah. So basically, his
That's
bolt
a classic
thrower,
Andrew move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You do the same thing.
Well, his bolt. It was very similar.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't flee. So his bolt thrower.
No,
originally, I got it with a chariot. His bolt thrower killed my
Oh.
other chariot.
Yeah,
then
just
my
dropped it.
chariot's gone in. And then his
Yeah.
bolt thrower killed that chariot. So I'm like, oh crap.
Got to get
I
it.
was
With
like running
something.
out of stuff to do. I was almost going to send those archers that you saw in there to go get it. But then I ended up getting my Reavers in and positioned them where he could only get a back shot. So I think he took off like 1 or 2 Reavers, but they ended up running away into the corner. But yeah, as you can see, basically I've taken the supplies, the mobile supplies away. Funnily enough, I got his cannon with magic. There was the one, was it not Uranus Thunderbolt or whatever it's called?
Yeah, is that 2d6
Uranus
Thunderbolt?
Thunderbolt.
No, that's
the D6.
oh,
I
the
got
D6.
like
Yeah.
I think it was like 5 or 4 on the D6. They all hit the cannon, and then I got 3 6s, and I took his cannon. So lucky, because that cannon was just causing me havoc. So basically, from that position where you guys can see there, that's sort of like where we've ended up. I've got the 2 suppliers. He ended up moving his iron breakers back. So I moved my dragon up, and I'm just like, he kept shifting back, and I'm like, the only way I could kind of get up close enough, I didn't have really that much chaff. I've got a feeling that eagle might have died, but I'm just like, I just came to the point. I was like, oh, do I want to risk that much of the game for X amount of points? Like, I think it was about turn 4 or turn 5.
And you've got the objective.
Like both the objectives.
Yeah. So I was like, well, that's 5 points. So I just ended up, I think he was annoyed, but I was kind of annoyed because I'm like, well, look, you're castling up. I don't want to go into you. You're not coming out. So we just sort of had that. It was really weird at the end because we only took off like 200 odd points from each other. Like it was the most bloodless game.
Yeah.
And Paddy came over. I felt like there was a vibe that was kind of like a bit of a thing that I didn't go in. But for me, I was like, well, look, I got my 15 points. You had ample opportunity to maybe deploy in the center, and it would have been a completely different game. So yeah, because he was a little bit unsure at the end about because I didn't charge the second lot of supplies. He wasn't sure that you had to be within 6 inches.
No.
So there was a bit of conjecture over that. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, I was just like, well, I don't know. I just didn't want to risk the entire game, considering that I was winning at that point.
That's the thing. When you castle up, you can't expect someone to come to you necessarily, especially when it's
not necessarily.
When the objectives are something that he has engaged with, he hasn't tried to get them himself, and he can't be annoyed at you for not going into him when you had the advantage essentially of all the objective points.
Essentially, that was it. Like I said,
I would have done the same thing.
He had 12 inches or whatever. And if he went right in the center, that would have been a completely different game because he would have been shooting me and moving up. So, yeah. But that was that. That's where we finished. Gummo, your game.
What was the score?
Oh, 15-10 to...
Oh, 15-10.
10.
Yeah.
So it was a draw, and I just got the 5 objective points.
Yeah. But you, day one, you went 1-1-1 as well, didn't you? Did you?
Yeah, so I had a huge win and a huge loss.
And a draw, yeah.
And
yes, so you're 2-1-1. Yeah, cool. Yeah. My game 4 was against Ben, who I can't share.
Oh, hold on. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I can't steal it off you. Yeah, so I don't have the power.
I assumed you had all the power.
Man. He seemed like a really nice bloke too, that Ben guy. Real chilled.
Yeah.
I don't want to attempt his last name, but he's good.
He's known as Spoon to his friends.
Oh yes, Spoon, and that was so funny when we went out and dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we
Saturday night, and all his mates are Kings of War people, and they're talking about podcasts. And I went, do you do a podcast? And they're like, yeah, we do the Direct Misfire podcast. And I went, what? I used to listen to that when I started playing Kings after 8th died. And then it's like, Spoon started it. I'm like, I've got to go back and listen to this because I remember episodes. And it would be him, but I didn't put 2 to 2 together. So funny. Cool. So he's got Wood Elves. He even said he built this for a slow grow, so it wasn't like it was a more of a, like, I wouldn't say combat, but it had more combat elements than some Wood Elf armies, so it was a pretty good one to play.
From what he was saying the other day, he wasn't I think he felt like he hadn't really optimized his list for tournament play as such, it feels like.
So it's really mixed. He's got like 8 Dryads, he's got like some Wild Riders, he's got the Glade Riders, some Glade Guard, like 2 big units of them, Treemen, and this big Eternal Guard block, which you can't really see in these pictures. It's like behind the Treemen. That's the combat punch, I guess. He's got that he's what's the general called? The Highborn's got like anointed netlings, and he's got that BSB that did something. What did it do, Josh?
I know that the Lord also had the Rymer's Harp, which gave the whole unit a 5-up ward.
Stubborn.
No, they get ward. They get stubborn as a rule for having the Highborn in there anyway.
Oh, is that that's what it is. That's
the BSB. What did he have?
And they could do like attacks to the side with their double weapons, like with their 2-handed weapons and stuff. Like there's a few little.
Oh yeah, they got different 2 attacks at the front, but they've also got spears. Essentially, it's a weird thing where their fighting stance gives them extra attack at the front, but also fighting extra rank as well.
So they're good. Like it's a big punchy unit. that's hard to like go in and kill the general and stuff like that because you got to hit him on sixes
I mean,
and crap.
actually, I can pop my photo up because you can see the Eternal Guard block. Hold on, I'll show this one too.
I love those Eternal Guard. They're so cool.
See that one.
The old metal miniatures.
Yeah, so there's the BSB in the block there.
Yeah. Almost looks like a Games Workshop picture. Look at that.
I had a lot of practice. I feel like I got better at doing this over the period of the tournament.
Yeah, so basically the cool thing with this one was I think it helped playing the mission before in the sense that, especially against, so he's got like, I guess he's got what are they called? The
Wild Riders?
No, he didn't. He just had War Dancers and Wild Riders, yes. So he's got Wild Riders and Glade Riders that could pick up the cart and run off with it, but he put the Wild Riders, and I think he said he made a mistake with that. He put them right out on the left. So the only thing out on the left, which is actually where the static supply one was, which is worth more, was some Dryads, which were more central, to be honest, and then just these Wild Riders, and that was it. And so on that side, because I sort of knew that's the one I was going to, like basically when I was deploying, I went, I'm going to take that, I'm going to go and sit on that static objective because I can't guarantee with his faster stuff and shooty stuff that I can even get the cart because I like knowing that if his Glade Riders get it and run off with it, well, I can't get it, you know. I'll try to get it, but I'm not going to, you know. So I put my general and stuff on the left because I wanted to just sort of really go up and try to take the Eternal Guard, like just annoy him if he's trying to get the cart. But on the right-hand side, I've got Carrier and a Scorpion, Archers. I think my Hierophant got over there at one point, and the big other unit of like the Tomb Prince and the skeleton, and you can see him right at the top of that picture. And so the only trick then I had was how do I kill those Wild Riders before they charge in and kill me? And so I've got like some magic missiles and shooting, which I hoped I could do. And so what ended up happening was basically, like I got because Carrion could charge, you know, the skirmishers, I could actually get a flank charge off on them. I think they were just out though, and so they didn't make it, which sucked. But I could turn all my chariots, put them in 5 wide, add my 10 archers, and then just threw all the magic I could at double shots. And I think I took 3 or 4 out. He ended up with I took 4 out by looking at one of my pictures.
Yeah. You've got later photos.
And eventually I got him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where are we? Get that right. That's the wrong one. That's us. I don't want to share us because it'll go infinite. Yeah, so like I'm down. I got him down to 1 guy basically, and eventually killed them. So then I just sat that unit on the objective. I don't want to go like turn by turn.
A lot of photos going on there. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's right. The left one was like and then in the left, if I jump back over to there, that's not the left, that's the right. Is there stuff on the left? Let me just see if there's anything applicable. No, I'll just move it up. His treatment and everything, and Eternal Card came through the forest and he was like tree singing it across and stuff. But I basically just was able to, I guess he didn't commit his treatment into my unit straight away. He was like, and he wasn't even really going after the cart too much. Like I tried to pick it up with a Scorpion and then eventually got killed. And then, and so like basically none of us ended up with the cart. And the big combat was just probably what this clipping one we were discussing was it's sort of this was the combat where his Eternal Guard, like I've been shooting them as well. They eventually came out. My chariots got him in the flank and we were really bustling. Like he was obviously doing a bit to me and I was doing a bit to him. And then my Scorpion, I got him back over here and went to charge. And that's when I went, well, I don't want him to get like nailed with 8 attacks back at him or 10. So I tried to clip. And that's when I went, oh, can I do that? Like I was pretty sure I could. And he's like, no, you can't. And that's when I ended up, obviously I can't. That's when I was being an ass. But I wasn't meaning to be an ass.
I had to get the TO over to get serious.
Yeah, I had to get the TO. And we brought it back. Like originally, he even said, "No, keep him there." Like because I showed him the rule book, but we didn't look at the appendix.
Yeah.
You know,
I think I must have just wandered by. I don't think you got me. I think I just walked past, and then you were.
No, we tried to get you, and then so we got you for a different ruling, remember? And then I said, "Oh, by the way, can I do this?" And then you were like, "No, you got to line up."
a normal person.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I moved him over, and I think he might have done an extra wound back to him, so it wasn't really worth it.
I knew it wasn't going to make much of a difference, honestly, especially when it's tough 5
and then
on 6s.
Yeah. So I got that. So it ended up being a. I think it was. Well, no, I didn't have the score on top of me now, but it would have been like a. I'll have to go back to the other window. I won't share it, but just where's the scores? Where's my window? Sorry, guys. It would have been. It was a win to me. It was a pretty big win. I just can't remember the exact.
Can I ask an important question?
17-6. So I got that static one and knocked out a bunch of his stuff, and he killed a little bit. But
you ended up breaking that Eternal Guard unit, did you? Did you end up taking it out? There's a lot of points in that unit.
Yep.
With the 2 characters.
Yeah, and I think if another little bit, like lasting another turn, he would have got the Dreaming in the back, and that would have been very bad. But I got him.
Yeah, fair enough.
So an important question. I'm sure Josh can help me out. Is that Weathertop in the center of the board?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Nice.
It's all that Lord of the Rings scenery.
I literally grabbed every piece of scenery that I had.
Worth a ton. Thousands of dollars in scenery. Oh,
no, it's not worth.
Weathertop. Weathertop's expensive.
Yeah, but that's...
No, total. Not just that piece.
Wait, what? What's total? Sorry, I'm confused.
Oh, just all your scenery.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that'll be worth it quite a bit.
Yeah. But Weathertop's quite expensive.
That's not a genuine one, though. That's just like a random foam one.
Oh.
Right, okay. Gee, you know what the other dumb thing I keep forgetting because I haven't used them much is when my carrion helped destroy those the Wild Riders, I then just like randomly flew them back around because I thought I'll go up, start harassing his, glade, like the glade guard. Just move them over this forest. These Dryads are there, but they're pointing the other way. No, they're skirmishers. So they just charged me and killed my carrion. I was like, skirmishers 360, because this is the same rule in Old World, isn't it?
Yeah, they are. Yep, they're still in Old World.
So I'm like, I've got to get that in my head because I'm dumb. I keep forgetting it. And gave him a whole unit of, not carrying it worth much, but
Did he commit the tree in the end? I didn't see the tree because I came over.
Like he went against some other stuff, like the other chariots and stuff, but he eventually probably got, I can't remember. It didn't get into that big combat, which is the pivotal one. Because I think I kept harassing him as much as I can with my other guys to keep him away.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he could have been, he had some swingy stuff which didn't go his way with the combat, which obviously helped me. But I think, his Glade Riders should have jumped on that cart and just run off with it. I wouldn't have been able to get him. But I knew that. That's why I didn't go for it. Really, I just thought the other one's worth more. I might sit on that, and especially when I saw how he deployed.
I remember I came over and I was so heavy. Yeah, you only had the Dryads there. It was just
So you're game 5, and we can wrap this
game
part
5.
up. Have you got something to share, Josh?
I actually don't. I didn't get a photo of this game.
Oh. The Seaguard game. Wow. Yeah, it was a.
It wasn't exactly a photogenic game, I guess. I don't know.
Nah, we got 5 turns out. I had to push to get my 5th turn because Paddy came over and said last action, and I was like, well, so last player turn, and then I was like, at the end of it, I was like, well, you've had your player turn. I want to finish my player turn, and it only took 2 seconds to do my player turn. So we ended up pushing out a little bit. But no, it was all good. So yeah, going against the Seaguard, he's got, for the people that don't know at home, he had the Sea Lord. He had a Commander, 2 Miss Mages, I think. He had 3 units of Seaguard, 4 units, I think, of Scouts.
Can I bring this on?
2 Bolt Throwers, the Meerworm. The Seaguard captain or whoever it is had the Bolt Thrower, bow, and the other commander had like something that made him a mage, but basically also the bow that did like 3 strength 5 shots. So he was full shooting heavy. I didn't know much about Seaguard. I actually looked at this at the start. I was like, oh, it's probably not too bad. After playing it, I'm like, holy shit, that was probably the worst thing would be the terrain. I think the terrain was a huge favor for him in the end.
Of course.
Just because he couldn't. I'll get into it. So anyway, shooting before the game. So he got everything that can shoot, basically shot. And he gets no to hit penalties at all. So he's doing like
God. It's just like an instant. You get a free shot at everything.
yeah. So his lord's hitting on 2s. His lord and his other guy went into my dragon and has punched off like 3 or 4 wounds or something. So my dragon's down. I've lost eagles. All my chariots are down to like 2 wounds. He shot everything and killed a bunch of stuff. And basically, the only thing he didn't shoot was my 2. What were they? The silver helm units were the only ones that didn't take shots, basically. And they got a 2-up save, so obviously you can see why I didn't do that.
But he played it where he shot each unit sequentially, right? He didn't shoot any units the second time.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, but he had all his characters in one, and that's the one that shot my dragon. Right. So one guy had a bolt thrower. He got off 3 wounds, plus the whole unit, and then he had the other character in there that did 3 strength 5 shots. So yeah, it was doing some damage. So yeah, I wasn't looking too pretty from the start. After that, I didn't realize it did that much damage, but it did. So yeah, he's done that. He started the first turn, and then he's shot everything again. I'm just like, oh, here we go. So I'm down eagles. I'm down a chariot. I think my dragon took another wound. I'm just like, oh god. So it's like, this is gonna be a really quick game. And then he moved all his characters inside. There was one. Deployment. So he deployed there was 2 forests, and in the back of his corner there was a building that was maybe, I don't know, 4 inches square, and that had a fence going the entire way around it. What I didn't realize is if a character's behind a fence but not up against the fence, then you can't see him unless you're like a large target or whatever.
Yeah. Because obstacles block line of sight.
Yeah, blocks line of sight. Completely screwed me because I couldn't charge him with anything except for my dragon. And then he just hit every time.
I have got an image of that piece of terrain in a pertinent manner.
Yeah.
From the game before. There you go.
Yeah, it worked out.
Were they just like behind
me.
that?
Yeah,
just at the back of that house. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is the game.
It's not your game. It's the same table. He was on that table for round 4 as well.
Same table.
So that was when Kieran played in the game before.
Because he knows what to do. Yeah.
That forest wasn't there. That forest was moved.
That's a wood. Oh.
Which one?
The wood.
Oh no,
sorry.
Different Kieran. I thought he was playing Wood Elves there.
He's playing Wood Elves.
The whole thing was.
Oh, he's against Wood Elves. Okay.
Oh, that table got changed.
Did it?
All right. Anyway, it's the same table. Yeah, that wood moved right next to the.
It might have been tree singing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And they must have left it there. Yeah. Right. That makes sense. Anyway, so yeah, so his it doesn't matter because whenever you start a game,
that's where the terrain is.
Yeah, the terrain's where it is. Yeah, exactly. I was just saying that it was in a different spot. So yeah, basically a bunch of stuff was killed. All his scouts were in the woods, so he had I think 4 units of scouts. And there was 1 wood on this side and 1 wood on the other side. And they were all deployed in those woods, so I couldn't see them. So I've started going up through the middle. He's deployed everything up against the back edge, obviously just to shoot me and take me a while to get to him. I planted my dragon in behind this wood here, so he'd stop shooting me. But because of that, basically, he managed to shoot off the rest of my chariots. on the left, he had all his characters in, but he's brought them into this house thing, which ended up I just couldn't get it. So all his characters are in there doing his shooting and magical stuff at him or something else, but in a position where I couldn't shoot him, so he's always moved it, and then I've repositioned my dragon. It didn't work out well. So basically, all my chariots got shot off. The only things that did kind of well were my silver helm. So I had one silver helm unit go all the way to the right and took out a Sea Guard unit, and then started taking out the bolt throwers. And then I had another Sea Guard unit go in the center. Another silver helm unit go in the center, take out his Sea Guard unit that had the bullshit banner. And then he was just sort of dancing around with his mealworm, didn't want to engage. They were the two units I had left at the end. And basically, my dragon finally got killed. Survived for a while. He had heaps of magic as well, which didn't help. And then my generals basically ran off after one of his mages and did like a wound at the end. So yeah, it didn't turn out very good. I think I got, what was the score at the end? It was like a 15-8. There was a few moments I was sort of like, I don't know. My turns were really, really quick because all I was doing was moving. And you know when like people roll dice like super slow, like you collect all your dice and then you like do some like, they've got almost like a system of like they've got to do it before they roll it. It just takes so long. I think that was a bit frustrating. It wouldn't have changed anything. The only other thing I found a little bit frustrating as well was not moving things into position. So there was a couple of times where I got shot and I found that I shouldn't have been shot because his stuff wasn't in position. But then he's sort of like, oh, I meant to move it. I was like, well, it's not in position. So he's kind of just moved it and he's like, oh, I'll just take half shots. I'm like,
right. Like it doesn't really work in a tournament unless you...
Just a bit of that gaming etiquette. I always thought that'd be a cool podcast episode. I know people have done it before, but like, what are all the little things that you should do, especially if you're teaching a new person? Just like,
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Like not clipping, things like that.
Yeah. It's being a bit petty from me because I'm like, his intent was obviously to move it, but, if you don't move it, if you move everything else, and then the problem is he didn't move it because he could shoot something else. And then that died by other shooting, and then it was out of position to shoot another chariot. So then he's like, I want to shoot that. I'm like, well, you can only see it with one guy. And he was like,
it's hard to justify.
It probably would have died anyway, like later, but it was just sort of like, it was a bit frustrating.
But you can't do that. It's the fog of war and the game 5. Everyone's probably just like,
I've got that don't be a dick sort of thing. I usually try and be like, oh man, like I don't like arguing. So that was just my point. So sometimes, you just sort of like cop it on the chin. I mean, I'm only middle. I was like middle of the pack. So I'm like, oh, who cares? How'd you go on game 5, Gomo?
So I was playing Julian, who we've already had on the pod, and obviously they ran the Cancon last year for 6. So, but he's playing Vamps, and it's a pretty infantry heavy Vamp list. So that was interesting. But like, everyone probably knows my fear, and I just cannot beat Vamps. But I always did think, especially after getting caned by this Sylvania list, that if I played Vamps again, and it would probably work better if it wasn't a Sylvania list as well, I was just going to entomb all my Scorpions and try go after the Necromancer and stuff. Because what else can I kill it with? Like, just try and just basically go after the characters. And then hopefully it cause enough havoc that then I can get some charges in and stuff. But so anyway, we deployed, what was the mission for this? It was pretty much just straight
up.
You just get more
everyone relax,
normal stuff,
just go normal scenario. It's been a long weekend.
So, and Julian's awesome. I gave him my sports vote because I actually did a dumb thing. I don't think it would have, we both agreed it wouldn't have probably, I mean, worst case, it would have helped him a little bit, but and I'll talk about it in 2 seconds. But I hate when I do these dumb things, but so I don't mean to. I just forget stuff. But anyway, in my excitement. But anyway, so I got first turn in regret. I actually thought I would have liked to have got second here because I just I didn't know what he was going to do. Like, because I don't know. Again, I haven't played.
Well, here it is.
This is like the second Vamps list I've played, so I didn't know. Could he? He can't sit back, but what's his magic like? I wasn't sure.
He actually had a. By the way, like it wasn't a normal Vamps list either. It was actually a Necromancer's army from the back of the book.
Ah, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I didn't actually have a vampire. It just had a Master Necromancer. And yeah. So it was actually a bit of a bizarre, bizarre list. Probably not as powerful as your normal vampire count list by some distance.
Yeah.
Just a whole bunch of skeletons. Yeah, not much punch.
Basically, there wasn't. Just got some whites in there and stuff, but nothing. He's got those ethereals, which I can't even hurt except for magic missiles and stuff. And yeah, so out on the left flank, he's got those knights. He's got knights on either end. The knights in front of those chariots. I just like put the chariots in 5 wide, so I've at least got some shooting to try and hopefully, basically knock some things off. But really, I was going to just go. My plan was to start like that, fast cav them into 3. I think even 2. Well, it was 3 or 2. I can't remember, to get through that gap to do a charge. Yeah. The carrier and I didn't really want to move straight up yet. I wanted to keep, because I wasn't sure what they were going to attack, because there's no war machines and stuff. So I thought I'll just wait. Move my archers up a bit just so I can start. Like I was doing a little bit of damage to his skellies, but I mean, what are you going to do? They can just raise 1 million back. But I guess the turning point probably. So on the second turn, one of my scorpions came up, and that's the mistake I made. I'll bring a picture up. Like I rolled the 4 and then just put the scorpion down and charged. And it wasn't until the next scorpions that I went, fuck's sake, I'm supposed to
scatter
roll the dice for misfire. Yeah. And in the second turn, both scorpions came up, both scattered, but not very far either. He's like, man, probably worst case, it would have scattered around there and you still would have made the charge anyway. But I went, I could have misfired though. Like I was it wouldn't have probably changed a whole lot. It just would have meant 1 extra turn of not having that scorpion in their ass. But it just shits me when I do something like that. And I don't know how you can even take that back, because it was a whole turn back. You know what I mean?
You just can't.
So on my turn 3, or going into turn 2 probably, after that scorpion had done that, I magicked like my both chariots into his units and stuff. And I guess that's the one thing Julian didn't realize. He thought, like I'd said, like he knew I could charge, but I think he said he thought it was 8 inches, like it wasn't going to be a full charge move or whatever. Like he just totally didn't realize. And I thought, and I was like, oh man, I'm sorry if I didn't. Like, I don't think I really, by turn 5, I wasn't explaining totally them and, the march, how far they'd go. But so he was fine with it. He's just like, oh man, that's like, it's just straight in. Like I probably shouldn't have moved on that quick. And I got the chariots, both chariots into both units. And obviously the next turn, the other 2 scorpions came up. So then it was just this big mishmash in the middle of units with, but it's not like there's so many skeletons. Like, I wasn't wiping them out. They were just like, in fact, I think one of the turns he still won combat with all his, like his champions did some more wounds plus then, combat res and all that. Yeah. But I wasn't going anywhere either. And then I just moved all my necromancers, my Hierophant and stuff, so I could heal. I could be it's got the Undying Legion banner plus my necromancer, not my necromancer, my Hierophant. So I was just bringing chariots back until the scorpions came in, the other ones, and then he then recharged those scorpions with the other skeleton unit, and then it just turned into this big. We were just it was so fun. We were just adding up combat res and crumble, and he was crumbling faster than me. The knights died, and then those skeletons on the left, the chariots came around and helped as well. The funny thing, those what are they called? The ghost things, the ethereal dudes. They went up, got my casket. I couldn't they were stuck there for a bit because he was whiffing his attacks, but it's just combat res. Like I was just hoping combat res would get them. Eventually, I think I got a scorpion into them, and eventually I popped them through combat res. But it took forever. But yeah, in terms of I got his necromancer, I got all that. So then he just started to crumble, and then by the end of the game, like I tabled everything, it was all gone. So it ended up being like a 21-4, I think it was. Yeah. So yeah, big win. Little bit tainted on my part. He didn't care, but I was just like dirty with myself. So I just got too excited because I was like, yeah, I got a scorpion. I'm going to like go up his butt. But yeah, is what it is, I guess. But yeah, so that was a big win. So I ended up with 3 wins, which was better than I thought I was going to go.
Yeah, sweet. Did you charge the Black Knights or did they charge?
Yeah, no, I charged them as well. So in that second turn, I charged both chariots got in.
Oh, they both got in. Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't really have that much dice. He had no scroll. So like, and I think he did try to spell some of that, but just wasn't rolling high enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, it was good. It was a good win there. Yeah. So day 2, I went pretty good. I was quite happy, and that made me even a little bit more annoyed at myself that I just didn't eke out a few more points on game 3. But there's no way I don't think I could beat that list. And then when I looked at the standings, I was like, even if I eked out like 3 more points, it wouldn't have put me really anywhere different anyway. So, yeah.
Was pretty tight in the center, but yeah.
Yeah. So
what'd you end up with? You were 70
or 13th or something.
Yeah.
I think. So it's my best result ever that I've played in. So I was quite happy with it, like, to be honest. It's like I felt like I knew what I was starting to, which is a bit annoying because now Old World's here, it's all changed. But like the Tomb Kings, I've started to get a feel for how to play them and stuff. Yeah.
I think 13th there was 3 guys on 72. Ben, Leopold, you and Josh. So all 11, 13, 12 and 13.
Oh, okay. Right. So it's technically 11th, 12th, or 13th, depending on alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Has it got battle points? Yeah.
Oh, no, you're right. There is battle points, but that doesn't go into this
I know.
calculation.
Need to pull the paperwork out and go, who had more scenario points to work as a tiebreaker? But
Yeah. It says 12 here, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, so these ones were. But see this, like Jamie and Alex are like 78 and 79. So even if I'd like killed an extra unit of Richards, I would have got to like 74 or something. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have really changed much. Might have hit it into top 10, but it'd have to be pretty high to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, he did well.
It was.
Big tournament.
Yeah, no, it's good. And then we move on to the old world. We're probably 6th edition to everyone out, but I think this podcast is mostly going to be old world moving forward, except for a little bit of updates.
Except for all the Joshua updates, the various logos or uprising tournament and all that kind of thing.
We were going to do like where we're going next, but maybe we should, but just as a quick thing, and then we'll obviously have more in-depth stuff next week or whatever. Like, what are you guys going to do? Like, it's done. Obviously start reading the rule books, but like, are you pulling bases off things? Like, what are you doing?
Definitely not pulling bases.
Obviously we're getting games in. Let's talk games first then.
No, can I talk about what I'm doing basing-wise? Because it's kind of exciting.
Okay.
This is something I was working on today. Where am I going to put it? Okay, so is it this one? Yep. I've got a photo. Can I put this photo on? Right. Sorry, you've already vacated it. Thank you. Yep. So this is what I was... This is an early prototype for my magnetized lance formation adapter that can be converted into a blunted lance. So I think it might work okay.
That is cool.
It might take a bit of playing. So I've got another one. So I've got because the thing is the way why is this taking so slow? The way I'm running it, I'm trying to leave enough space that I can actually do some modeling on the adapter base as well.
On the adapter bases.
And because the other thing is, I don't think I could do this style if I rebased. You know what I mean? So because if you've got 30 by 60s, there's no lip on the edge for me to magnetize the actual movement tray. So this can only be done if, with an old OG sort of mode. But there's enough on this. Like the other thing I'm having fun. The idea is that I can actually, not just have them in the center of the adapter. So you can have some variants.
Fair, that's what I can see that on.
So I can push it back a little bit, push it a little bit forward, off to the side, and maybe put some bits of terrain and stuff, in those gaps as well. So yeah.
Good for heroes as well if you got like banners and things. Move around.
Make it less uniform.
The only thing and I think for these, especially this cab stuff, I think it makes sense. But the thing I've been a little worried about getting the adapter stuff is I feel like, to me, it's just my, like how big a base is. Like I was thinking, should I just get, I don't know, like 5x2 so I can join them together? Sort of like what you're doing there. Because I don't want to I don't want to go out and get like 6x4 ones and then only half use the tray, but it's so big I need to and I don't know. And then on the other thing, I wasn't sure how all the magnets, I like the sheet, what's it called, Magflex. Just put the Magflex down and then
that's what I got.
Clip on it. I don't know how the back to basics one is it still one big sheet and you just glue the top part of MDF over the top, or is it all little individual magnet holes? Or
are you talking about the base adapters that he's got?
Yeah,
I don't know. I know his. When I've done I think you can do either way. Like I know that with the skirmish trays,
some that have magnets in them as
the skirmish trays, I think you can either just put one big thing of the Magflex stuff on the bottom and then stick your glue on top, or you can just cut little squares out and put them in each hole. I think it's plausible you could do either one.
Yeah. And it's not an issue. It's just I don't know. I'm half tempted to start. And it's probably different armies, different things. But honestly, my Tomb Kings, I'm almost to the point where maybe I just keep the neck. I've got to paint a bunch, like a heap of probably skeleton spearmen, for example. I might as well just put them on 25s, because I'm not using them in 6th anyway if I ever play older stuff. And then Orcs, I probably will rebase because I wouldn't play them in an old one. I was a bit annoyed how they played. So yeah, I'm thinking base-wise, I might actually. I don't know. Maybe I will rebase and just use a few adapters. My view of this, like Andrew, if we play Friday, for example, my view is I'm not worrying about base size at all. I don't know.
Nah, not for this Friday, no.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What are you going to do? You've got a lot of 20 mil, Andrew. What are you going to do with yours?
I'm thinking probably what you're thinking. For the moment, I'm not going to bring High Elves to the Old World table. I'm just going to leave them as is. One thing I haven't played in a while is Vamps. And I'll probably, even though it's not supported, I'll bring Vamps over to the Old World. I actually don't
absolutely supported. There's a whole army list you can use. Definitely supported.
Oh, that's why I've got the...
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was looking at your screen when you did that.
No. And to everybody listening, I've spent
on the
a bit of money
podcast
as I spoke to you guys. Oh, no. So I actually got them professionally printed up, the Chaos Dwarf and Vampire Count PDFs. So they're on some nice shiny paper. The only thing I need to do, I was trying to find a nice piece of artwork, and maybe I can superimpose the Old World, Warhammer the Old World on top.
Yeah.
Well, a nice
Richard was asking
page.
that on our Discord, and I could probably do it, but he was saying, has anyone got the Photoshop skills to, take the Ravening Hordes book title and change that picture in the middle, which I think that'd be totally easy to do, and the logo. It's the font down the bottom, which of Ravening Hordes, whatever, changing that round, or finding the closest font would be a bit annoying. So a proper graphic designer would do it in 2 seconds.
You're saying the first book you've got is actually a print off from the the free supplement before you've got physically any rules in your hand.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Ironic.
Yeah.
So
it cost me a lot of money. It cost me because you get quality paper and you go to a place and get it printed off. It's not actually that cheap.
Well, I went to Officeworks today because I had to pick some other stuff up for school for the girls, and then I was like, I'm gonna print a rule book out for Friday, because not only that, and I was even thinking this, like, I think
full
I'm going to
rulebook.
use this rule book because I probably want to highlight the bits I want to make short notes, put like tabs in it. And I don't want to do that in the rule book.
No.
So I actually might end up printing. And then, because when I went there, I talked to the lady and she went, "Oh, it's cheaper if you print it yourself and we just bind it." I went, "Cool, no worries."
Yeah.
I went over, plugged the stick in, and it's more than 50 meg. So you have to go talk to them. So she split it into 4 PDFs. And then, then she went, but the plan wasn't to print the whole thing out. It was just to print the first 4 pages, which are all color. So it's like color, in like the contents plus the cover. And then I think black and white for just the rules section. Like, I'm not putting all the fluff because that's what the book's for. But now but that would still cost all up, like, I don't know, $50 or $60 of printing.
It's expensive.
And then, but the color would end up being like 100 and something. But then I don't know. Then I started thinking, well, if I'm going to use this forever, because that's going to be the book. Because the cool thing about the binding is you can open it right up and it doesn't get wrecked and stuff. And I was thinking maybe I should actually print it on better stuff. Cost more.
I love how you convince yourself.
It's my tournament. It's my tournament rule book. Where I can write stuff in it, highlight stuff.
Wouldn't it be cheaper just to buy a second official book and just use that?
Given that I've already bought 3 of them,
Josh. Don't use common sense.
Given that 3 of them are coming to my house, that could be a point, Josh. But you can't open them right up and stuff and make notes. And I don't know, maybe
you got to wait 10 days. You got to wait 10 days.
Yeah, there's 10 days to wait. Well, I think, but printing the books was purely for, I think if we're playing our first game, we're going to just be looking at so many rules. I feel like I'd want to have one that I can have 100%. Fully open and I don't know. I don't know. You guys don't like the idea of me printing the books then?
No, you bought 3 copies of them. You just wait a week and a half.
Well, I've already sold one of them.
To know how expensive it was.
Kieran's buying
it was only 20 pages.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it's that. But I mean, I can print the black and white on. I mean, I can print color on my laser, but I just don't want to go through all the toner. But maybe that's
got a laser printer.
Printing it. Yeah, but their ones are better. Officeworks comes out.
Yeah, but you're just using it as a
a temp,
like as a throwaway one. You can write notes and stuff on. Like, why are you looking for the highest quality?
Have you paid for brand new toner? Because I used to buy the cheap toner and then it just runs out all the time. So now I buy decent stuff. But my kids go through it, and if I go through it, I'm up for like $400 of toner. So but just go to Officeworks and
is that still? Yeah, surely it's cheaper than Officeworks, but getting them to print it.
Yeah. It would be. Yeah. It'd be just, do I want to burn through my color? I don't know. I just do. There's nothing wrong with black and white, but some of those diagrams are, it's the purple one and the red one.
Yeah,
but I mean, I don't think we need to worry about that. We know what
honestly, if I was doing it, I would just do it off my black and white laser printer without a second thought.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're even doing it in color in the first place.
Well, the color would look better.
But you have an official book.
So I've done the cover. Yeah.
three official books.
Can't you tell? I'm just so obsessed with Old World. I just want something. I need it now. It needs to look good. That's why I've got the magic cards all printed out. Because
that's impressive. I can't believe you got the magic cards all printed out. Like, that's really cool.
But you know what? So the annoying thing, everyone's been asking, can I get a copy? Can I get a copy? I didn't make the actual that side of it, this one. I can't even find he's on the other Discord, and I tried to find his name because I want to ask him some stuff. But because I want to know, does he care if I share them? But he didn't do a backing, so I've done backings. But the funny thing is, I did them all, not all of them. I did the ones I cared about. And then they're wrong, and he's fixed them again. And so I'm wondering if he was a play tester, because everything that was wrong, they're not all wrong, but like say 1 to 3 spells were wrong in nearly every deck.
And like,
he redid it.
Slightly
and the
wrong?
Things that they were... Yeah, so the things they were wrong about generally were the casting value or the range value.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
And I don't know who the dude is, but I'm like, I reckon he was a play tester, and he had them earlier, and and I've ended up printing those ones out, but they're actually wrong when I look at But I noticed he'd updated them, and then I went, "What? Yep. Oh, they're all." So lucky we weren't playing on them, because we would have been using the wrong casting values. So I went back and double checked that they're all right now from the book. But I'm like, I think he's outed himself as a playtester.
Funny. Were they largely
So-
were they nerfed or buffed compared to the playtesting values? Was there a general trend you could see?
Nerfed.
Right.
So most of the spell went up. So there was some that were like 5s and 6s that went to 8s.
That's a big
And
jump.
then most of the ranges went from like 24 to 21 or 18 down to 15.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
I was going through Magic today. There's some kick-ass spells. Like Magic is strong.
Like
Yeah.
Not-
I
like
think
everyone
not
takes a
stupid,
strength test,
strong.
and if
no,
you fail
they're
it,
not
you die.
game changer. No, not like those ones, but yeah.
Nah, but there's some combat winners in there.
But I mean, so you know what I wanted to do, and I started this, and I'll share it with you guys. It's in our Google Drive, so we can just do it. But it's basically just notes for each phase of important things we should try to remember. Like, it's not every rule change, but it's like, what's the things we think we're gonna forget when we're playing? Like, for example, one of the things I wrote in there was like, you have to roll higher on the dispel than power level. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're dispelling, it's not equal. You have to roll above.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen that wrong on multiple bat reps already. You know,
Yeah.
that they're
Bless you,
dispelling
Josh.
it on the same value. You know, so I was thinking, what are the cool things that you guys end up? And I'm sure you're looking at them and you go, oh, I'll forget. Like if you find something like that, like put it on this doc. Because I reckon if we then play, Andrew, and then you, Josh, when you play with Nick, which you should bring up on the podcast and laugh as well as.
I was about to bring it up. I was getting to that.
Yeah, cool. We could use that sheet as well and just go, okay, that's right. Yeah, got to remember that.
That's good.
There's a few things like that you just, easy to forget if you don't just, I don't know, make that note.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, because.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you guys have your game. When are you playing? You playing Friday or something?
Friday.
Yeah. So the only negative Friday during the day, Andrew, was obviously pick up kid. I might pick Zoe up, but I think Mia can pick her up because now she can drive. So apart from that, if we want to do a day one, I can probably do it anytime, like you said, if that's easier for
I'm
you.
just going to Sydney on. Well, we can talk about this offline. But
okay.
Yeah. But I reckon this will be the prelude to the first bat rep, which is probably going to be another very slow game. But
maybe do your first game and then do an actual battle rep. You know what's actually going on. Because Nick Gentili is coming over to play a game with me on next week, which is very exciting. But
he seems very super
keen,
which I like.
He's so excited. I haven't seen him excited about fantasy since 8th edition, since he was throwing those white lines around the table. Dear. You know, he was hanging around on the doubles when he was watching me play with my cult of Slannesh. You should have seen he was so disappointed at how crappy Dark Elves are in 6th ed. He was like, he was asking because I was shooting things. He was like, "Oh, what are you shooting those dark shards at? Like the Predator crossbows?" And he's like, "Don't they have armor piercing?" I'm like, "No, they're just strength 3, mate. They're not armor piercing, nothing like that." And then I was about to shoot the shades, and he's like, "What do you mean 14? Aren't they BS5?" I'm like, "No, they're BS4." And he's like, "What? They're BS4?" And he literally got my shit and checked it. He's like, "They're only BS4." Josh, Dark Elves are shit in 6th edition. It's terrible. All the stuff that they have, they're just like in 6th ed, they're just like crappy elves. I didn't even get to the part where, cold one knights, so when, the cold ones only got 1 attack. They can't use the toughness of the cold one, like all this.
Get on a cold one and suddenly your toughness.
I was looking at the old world stats. Yeah, they're tough 4. Cold ones have got 2. Like they're actually so much better in the later editions. His face was like he'd eaten his horrible sour plum. Like when he found out the shades only a PS4 and 6th ed.
Well, I wish we had our recording on the Saturday when he was describing his pre high elf
7th
8th
ed
edition
book in 8th ed.
Yeah,
absolute
rules. Describing it to the Kings of War players. That was funny. As only Nick can do.
We could not even attempt it.
You couldn't replicate it. He'd have to do it. It'd be so funny to hear that. But Cool. Anyway, well, that wasn't a massive old world chat, but I'm assuming we'll start talking a lot more as we get games in and stuff.
Absolutely. Now we've got.
Well, I had to get that out of the way.
No, yeah, we wanted to kind of wrap up. Like, yeah, I think that was totally worth it.
Yeah.
And now that that's all done, we can really focus on building for it.
On the old world.
Now I've got time to read rules and think about it. Got space in my brain.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it. It's so funny. Like I was with the orcs. It's like I'm tossing up between. Obviously, I'll redo my Tomb Kings and add to them. Not redo, like rebase some of them and add to them and put the what I've been doing. Put the big gribblies in and stuff like that. But I feel like that's just an evolution of what I've already done. But to do a whole new army or adjust one, the orcs were the ones I was thinking about. And then I was just starting to realize how much other little orc stuff I've got that I just never put together. Like I still use those old 4th edition Doom Divers, but I've got 2 metal Doom Divers, the bigger, the proper ones. And I'm like, oh, cool. Now I don't have to rebase the old ones. I'll just do the new ones,
Do the new ones.
So it should be good.
And I picked up the nice Bombard from Medbury Miniatures.
Oh,
my first old world specific purchase, and it's a third-party miniature because GW don't have one. So what choice do we have?
That's right. I definitely
Bombard
want to
looks so good.
Paint up that witch elfie. What is it?
Yeah.
Not witch. What's it called? What's the other mini that we got with the 6th
edition?
Oh, the
Witch Hunter with the 6th book.
Witch Hunter. Yeah. I haven't actually looked at the Empire, but I'm assuming that'd be fun rules.
I'll see a Witch Hunter,
isn't he?
I'm assuming he looks like one.
I thought it was just like a.
No, he's supposed to be a Witch Hunter. Yeah, that's why he's got the big Warhammer thing.
I suppose he's got a hammer.
Yeah, he looks like that sort of classic Witch Hunter dude. That I love that model. Yeah,
it was very good. I got 2. I had to get 2.
Cool.
Of course.
Yeah. So
of course.
Awesome.
I don't know why.
Okay, well, I might give it a wrap, and then we can get this one out, and then there's going to be old world stuff dropping on our YouTube as well. Like I'll probably get some other videos out as well. We'll get these bat reps out as they start trickling out. And when we get our books, we'll do we'll go through all that and add out. I know it's all out on YouTube, but we'll add our own take as usual.
And once we've got the set up for the bat reps, hopefully I'll be able to do some as well. Because I reckon Nick would be up for it. Yeah. Last time he was over, we were playing Song of Ice and Fire, and that was like 12 months ago. So now we've got something fun to play.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
cool. I actually reached out, and now I can't remember if the other guy got back to me, but the dudes who run the 40K streaming stuff on 40K Down Under, whatever, they've got like some really thin overhead lights and camera mount, which isn't like a big like it's not both sides of the table. It just goes like almost up one, but it looks really cheap and light, but good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to find that one out because I reckon that's the biggest issue is having that nice top-down view. Those mics I've been using that we used the other day, I think they're awesome for that stuff. And then you can just stream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, cool. Well, I'm going to let you guys go. For all our listeners, big thank you again and listening to our rambling about Six and now Old World. But yeah, just like usual, just please leave us the 5-star reviews. If you're watching this or listening or whatever it is on YouTube and you're not subscribed, subscribe. We did hit over 500, which is good, but we still need those public hours. So if you're bored, press play on a video and just let it run in the background and add those public watch views up for us. That'd be awesome. Otherwise, hit us up on all our socials at Old World Fanatics. And until next time, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next, what's it called? Episode.
All right, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Bye.